It's time for Intelligent Machines. Jeff and Paris are here. I'm here, and our special guest is here. Ray Kurzweil, the author of so many great books about the singularity. His latest, The Singularity is Nearer, When We Merge with AI. His vision of the future is mind-boggling. It's coming up next on Intelligent Machines.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines with Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau. Episode 810, recorded March 12th, 2025. A leader of Computronium. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in artificial intelligence. We also talk with the most interesting people in the field. Joining me right now, of course, Jeff Jarvis, Professor Emeritus of, Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. But he's not there anymore anyway. We just do it so we could play the jingle. He's now at Montclair State University and SUNY Stony Brook. Hi, Jeff.
Hi there, boss. How are you?
Author of the Gutenberg Parenthesis. I'm excited. We have the best guest ever coming up. Also with us, Paris Martineau. Oh, you got the book. Good. The information Paris writes for the weekend about youth issues or whatever the hell's on her mind, right?
Online child safety and tech and politics and all that fun jazz. My copy of Ray's book is woefully behind me.
But you can't reach it.
I mean, it's on the bookshelf. I could go run for it, but no, I've read it.
We all have copies, and that's the most
it's
important
true.
thing. The Ray we're referring to is, really, in some ways, the spiritual father of this show, because he wrote the book, The Age of Intelligent Machines, that gave birth to the name Ray Kurzweil. His newest is The Singularity is Nearer. He's written many books. He's been a leading developer in AI for 63 years, which is, as far as I could tell, longer than any living person. Also, an amazing inventor. He invented the first flatbed scanner, the first optical character recognition system, the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind. Of course, that famous Kurzweil synthesizer for Stevie Wonder. I can go on and on. You actually got a Grammy Award for that. Recipient of the National Medal of Technology, inducted in the National Inventors Hall of Fame, 21 honorary doctorates. He's written 5 best-selling books, and as I said, the newest, which came out last year, is The Singularity is Nearer, When We Merge with AI. Ray, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for giving us some time.
My pleasure.
Love your hand-painted suspenders. They're fantastic.
Thank you.
There's so many questions we have for you. You're probably most famous for your prediction that we would reach AGI in 2029, 4 years from now, and we would reach the singularity in about 20 more years from now. In fact, I remember talking to you in 1999 when I think you said those very years. Nobody at the time thought you were right. You obviously have been pretty accurate. I saw somebody said your success rate in predictions is 86% now. Are we still on target?
I made 147 predictions in 1999 about the year 2009. 86% were correct within 1 year. So,
wow.
But I have a method for doing this. If I actually bring up the computation chart, I can show
I have it on my screen right now. Yeah. Benito, can you pull up that? There we go. This is, by the way, a logarithmic chart.
It's a logarithmic chart. So a straight line means exponential growth. It starts with the first working computer in 1939, the Zeus 2, which did 0.000007 calculations per second per constant dollar. Up on the upper right-hand corner is a NVIDIA latest chip, which does 500 billion calculations per second per constant dollar. So it's a 75 quadrillion-fold increase since 1939 for the same cost. And that's only the hardware. The actual cost of doing a computation is the hardware times the software increase. The software increase depends on what you're doing, but it can also be millions of one to one. So overall, we've gained something like a million quadrillion-fold increase since 1939. That's why we didn't have large language models in 1939, or even 4 years ago. We began to have them 4 years ago. They didn't actually work very well. Even comparing today's large language models to the ones we had 1 year ago is a dramatic difference. So we're making exponential gains in the cost of making a computation.
So, all right. So I guess that's, in a way, is that Moore's Law?
Well, Moore's Law is a piece of it that deals with integrated circuits. But this happened from 1939 when we used relays to create computers. Then we used
good point.
Tubes. Then we used discrete transistors. Then we used integrated circuits. Moore's Law has only to do with integrated circuits.
Right.
This is a much more broad way of tracking computation.
But AI hasn't gotten better solely because computation's gotten better, or has it?
But that's a necessary capability. If we didn't have the computation, we wouldn't have large language models. That only emerged like 4 years ago because of the exponential gains in computation.
You actually point out, though, that people...
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great now. Yeah.
Okay.
You actually point out that even as recently as a few years ago, even experts in the field have been surprised, you write, by many of the recent breakthroughs in AI. There is something else going on than just computational capability, yes?
Yes, it's both software and hardware. The software is also giving us computation gains, but we're also creating more sophisticated software. Large language models now can actually call other capabilities and bring them in. I mean, right now, computation is getting to the point where it can match the best human capabilities. There's different definitions of what AGI means. My definition is actually pretty comprehensive. Basically, it will be able to do what an expert in every field can do all at the same time. And we're not quite there yet, but we will be there by 2029.
It'll be more general, in other words. Yeah.
And it'll be able to do what an expert can do in every field.
In any field, yeah.
Ray, do you have a definition of intelligence, generic even before you get into this with artificial?
Well, I dealt with a few definitions in my books. Mm-hmm. Intelligence is a way of using limited resources to solve a problem. And the faster you can solve it and the more sophisticated that you can, problems that you can solve, you have more intelligence.
You have a bet, you did it somewhere more than 20 years ago, I think, with Mitch Kapor. It was part of the Long Now's long bets, a $20,000 bet that a machine would pass your modified Turing test. When? Right. Soon, right? In the next few years?
Well, it said it by 2029.
29, okay.
But the Turing test is not very well defined. Turing actually had like a page of descriptions of it, so it's really unclear. Some people have said that the current language models can already pass it. I felt we would actually have like a 5-year period where people would say we're passing it. People wouldn't necessarily believe that, but by the end of 5 years, everybody would believe it. So we've actually passed that first point. So by 2029, I believe everyone will believe that we passed the Turing test. But more significantly is AGI, which is actually the same prediction that large language models combined with everything else that we're doing will be able to match the best human capability, but also much faster. Like a friend of mine compared two books. It took her 4 days to do it. She decided to compare that to a large language model. Large language model did it in 40 seconds, and she felt it did a better job. That's today.
Yeah.
So it's already comparing very well to human intelligence. And
are you going to have so your test has human judges connected to test subjects, both computer and human. One of the things you point out is that an AI actually will have to pretend it's dumber than it is, because if it really knew everything, it would be so obvious that it's a computer that it wouldn't.
Well, absolutely. If it solves problems that take us 4 days and 40 seconds, and it can do that for every possible human skill, we would know it's a computer.
Yeah.
So it has to dumb itself down. But there's certain things that it can't quite do yet that actually humans can do. It has to be very good at having a personality that's consistent. We're getting there. 2029 is actually one of the more conservative predictions about this.
It's your prediction, or do you want to adjust it? Do you think we'll get there sooner?
Well, there's no reason for me to adjust it.
Right.
I mean, I said 2029 in 1999.
Right.
Stanford actually was concerned about my prediction. They organized a worldwide conference to examine it. Several hundred AI experts came. This was, I think, in 2000. And they felt that, yes, computers would be able to pass the Turing test, but not within 30 years. The consensus was 100 years.
Oops.
I was the only person that said 30 years.
I think you're closer than 100 for sure. One of the things you point out in the book, which is, I think, really true, is, I think you refer to a AI expert who said, if a computer, and this was a few years ago, I think 2014, 2015, could look at an image and know what's going on in the image, that's really hard to do. And if it could do that, that'd be impressive. 1 month later, Google releases Google Lens and does it. But you point out humans have an interesting flaw, because as soon as the computer does it, we go, oh, yeah, well, that wasn't so hard. Of course it can beat the best chess players in the world. That's a computation.
Yeah. Well, we saw that with chess.
Right.
Chess was considered, if you could actually play chess, you're creating fantastic creative abilities, which no computer could do. As soon as a computer could beat every human being, we said, oh, well, chess is not that
wasn't that
significant.
Hard. Yeah. AlphaGo Zero is very interesting because it taught itself, unlike the chess playing computer, it learned, all it started with was the rules of Go, and then it played itself a billion games over just a few days and became better even than AlphaGo, and beat the world champion, beat AlphaGo 100 games to nothing. That's something called deep reinforcement learning, right?
Well, that's what we're dealing with now. We actually can, when you play a game, it's very clear whether or not it's successful or not. If you win the game, you can actually track on that data. When you're creating language models, it's not clear what a successful identification is. But we've actually had people go through, we've trained many different possibilities, and it actually learns from that. So that's like a successful game, and it actually can do a very good job with language now.
DeepSeek, in fact, kind of used that technique, right?
Well, American companies also have the ability to do this with less computation.
Yeah, OpenAI immediately said, "Oh, we got that. We can do that." You talk in the book was written last year, and you talk a lot about the disruptions, and you talk, I think, pretty optimistically, as you always have, about, for instance, the job market and other disruptions. You do, you're a little concerned about Luddites. You're a little concerned about anti-AI violence.
Well, the problem now is that it's happening so quickly.
Right.
I mean, generally, in times past, it took a while for the job picture to change, and so people could get used to it. Now it's going to happen very, very quickly.
Are you concerned?
Well, I'm concerned about that. I think we'll get through it. We'll actually be better off. Actually, if you bring up my U.S. personal income chart,
I got it right here. Yeah, let me pull it up.
this is due to computation, comparing our per capita personal income. So this is the average income that a person makes. In constant dollars, it's 10 times what it was 100 years ago.
This is at 2023 dollars.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Although there's a little dip there right at the top. I noticed a little drop. I wonder what data from the last few years might show. I mean, you also talk a lot about the real reason humans work is for meaning and for purpose. Obviously, we have to support ourselves.
Right. Well, my view is a little bit different than other AI experts. Some people think, okay, we've got a certain amount of intelligence, and then AI, although we carry it around, like everybody carries this around. I give lectures, and every single person almost has a cell phone.
Right.
That wasn't true 15 years ago. But it's not part of our body. So if AI says something, it's not part of who we are. But we're going to actually merge together. We're not going to carry around a separate part. We'll do that with virtual reality. We'll actually see things, and it'll actually go inside our brain. That'll happen in the 2030s. And we won't be able to tell the difference between things that our biological brain, which we'll keep, as well as our AI-assisted brain, we won't be able to tell the difference, and it'll be part of who we are. So it won't be us versus AI. We're going to be made much more intelligent by merging with AI.
You talk about it as epochs, and the fifth epoch. You say we will directly merge biological human cognition with the speed and power of our digital technology.
Right, and other people don't do that. They think it's us versus AI. I mean, you go through educational institutions from elementary school up through graduate school. People don't want to use AI because people won't get smarter that way. So let's keep AI separate, and that's not the right way to do things. The world we'll be in will be even more than it is today, imbued with AI, and we're going to be smarter, and that's the world we need to get used to.
We'll actually transcend our genetic capabilities by some sort of cybernetic man-machine interface.
And there's a whole way in which we'll do that, but I mean, you can see with virtual reality, you just look at the world and things you look at will be, it will tell you what's going on with them. You'll see the world with a much more comprehensive view of it.
But that's for you, that's what the singularity really is, right? I mean,
the singularity is when we actually merge, we'll combine with AI, and it'll make us 1,000,000 times smarter.
Right.
And that's something that we can hardly comprehend, so we borrow this metaphor from physics, where we talk about something that we can't understand, like a singularity in physics. Things go into it, you can't actually see what's going on inside it, so we call that a singularity. This is a singularity in history where we won't be able to really understand today what it would be like to be 1,000,000 times smarter. So that's 2045.
So, as I was saying, you wrote this last year. We have entered a very disruptive period, not just in our nation, but globally. Perhaps maybe a little bit because of this, perhaps because of climate change and a lot of other disruptions. Are we going to make it to 2045? Have you changed your outlook a little bit because of the last few months?
No, we're going to get to 2045.
Good. I'm counting on it.
I mean, if you bring up my chart on electricity generation, solar energy, and it's also true of wind energy, is growing exponentially. And there's reasons for that. To completely replace all of our energy needs, we would only need 1 part in 10,000 of the sunlight that meets the Earth. So we only have to generate 1 part in 10,000, and we'll generate all of the energy that we need. And we're on our ways to doing that in about 10 years based on the exponential growth. People tend to look at things in linear ways, but this is actually growing exponentially, and energy will be much cheaper as a result.
You do have a chapter called Peril. You talk about the specter of social dislocation and violence, which you think is unlikely. But you do point out, and I think this is important, that we should work toward a world where the powers of AI are broadly distributed so that its effects reflect the values of humanity as a whole. I mean, that's pretty clear that we don't want... You work right now, by the way, we should mention, you're AI visionary at Google. But notwithstanding, we don't want Google to control it or Microsoft to control it or OpenAI or China. Or it should be something all humankind benefits from, yes?
Well, first of all, I mean, everybody has access to AI, so that's good. And we do want competition in the AI field. I think, though, if you use a large language model, it should be from a larger company, so they're concerned about their reputation and their liability.
Good point. DeepSeek is not.
If you deal with a small company, there's not much behind them, and they're not really that concerned about reputation or liability.
I do think, though, it's very important, and I'm very happy about this, that this hasn't become a proprietary technology, that the technologies for transformers and LLMs are well known, well distributed, and many other companies are working on it at the same time.
And a lot of companies really create publications with their techniques.
Yeah, it's not being kept secret.
Right.
Which is good, I think. Yes, you agree?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's good to have sort of sensible regulation across a lot of different companies.
We just recently saw Safe.ai release, this is Eric Schmidt's effort, releases a paper on AI safety. Where do you stand on superintelligence and AI safety?
Well, I mean, threats of AI are real and serious, but it's not an alien invasion. AI is not coming to us from Mars. We're creating it.
That might be worse.
The techniques are widely known is actually helpful. Everybody has access to it. And some things that are negative it's good for them to be widely known. When we had nuclear war was actually, there's been two times that the nuclear war actually broke out, and 2 cities in Japan were annihilated with nuclear war. And if you asked people then, what's the likelihood that this will happen again? 99% would say that, it's going to happen many times. But actually, for the last 80 years, this has not happened.
It was a
people
cautionary.
Actually have capability of nuclear war. Maybe not the best people in the world, but somehow we've avoided doing that. So I'm more optimistic that we can avoid the dangers from AI. But we must train AI to mirror human reasoning. We must advance our ethical ideals as reflected by AI. I was actually one of the principal participants in the Asilomar guidelines. This happened a number of years ago, and we created some ethical ideals that are being pursued. And so I'm optimistic about it, but we do have to be diligent about it.
Is this a role that government should take?
It's a good question. I don't really have an answer to that. It depends on what the governments do. I mean, I think it's actually useful to have large companies that already have a lot of both reputation and ethical guidelines to guide them.
I'm sure because you work at Google, you wouldn't be working there if you didn't feel like they were a good steward. Is OpenAI a good steward?
I think so.
Okay.
And a lot of people use them. And I think that's been helpful to have a lot of companies doing this.
Guys, I don't want to monopolize Mr. Kurzweil. If you have a question, Jeff or Paris, please.
Paris, you go.
I'm curious. I mean, you've touched on this a bit, but given that your position on this is that in just a few short years, we're going to experience AGI and specifically the widespread access to technologies that are better at doing practically everything that a human being could. What would, I guess, stop that from causing kind of widespread economic disruption of large segments of the economy kind of collapsing as companies replace workers?
Because we're merging with AI. I mean, everybody seems to take the position there's human intelligence and then there's AI. We carry it around with us, but it's not really part of us. But we're actually going to merge with it. So you and me and everybody else is going to be a lot smarter than we were before. And you won't be able to tell, in fact, you won't be able to tell from yourself what's AI and what's part of you because it's part of yourself.
Does that require a human AI brain interface like Neuralink? Is that how it's going to happen?
It's not going to require surgery. I mean,
good.
Neuralink is useful for people that can't communicate and so on. And it can be very useful for that. But for the rest of us that can communicate, virtual reality is one way to do it. The other ways to actually tell what you only have to actually detect what's going on in part of the your brain. Where the key thoughts are generated.
So I could wear a helmet? Do you imagine?
Yeah.
Or some sort of AI hat?
You won't have to wear anything.
Oh, okay. Although I'm willing to. I'm just saying I'm willing to if
He's worn worse.
I've done worse. So, but you anticipate that in 20 years, people will grow up in kind of a team work with AI. Will kids go to school or will they? I mean, what does this look like? How does it happen? When do you get your AI implant? Or do you not worry about that?
That's a very good question. I'm really not sure about that.
Doesn't matter really if it happens, I guess. Yeah.
But if you do it, let's say through virtual reality, I mean, you can get it at any time.
Right.
You can put it on, take it off, just like virtual reality is today. And it can actually generate a broader view of each person. And we're doing that already. I mean, just carrying this around already makes us more intelligent.
No, I agree. In fact, I use AI all the time. And I now, as Paris and Jeff painfully know, I wear a little recorder. This is kind of like Gordon Bell's memory thing, but it's not pictures. It's recording all the audio, which it then sends to AI for analysis. And right now, the analysis is somewhat trivial. It's interesting, but somewhat trivial. But I also feel like I'm building up a database of information that will, as AI improves in a few years, be really valuable.
Well, I took everything that my father wrote and created a chatbot with it, and you could ask him any question, and it would actually find the correct answer. And it was like talking to my father.
That's wild.
So there's ways in which, even though everything you're saying may not might seem trivial to you, you put it all together, it actually generates your personality.
Will it still be, you think, in 2029, neural nets, LLMs, deep reinforcement learning, the kinds of techniques we're using now, or do you anticipate new techniques to come along?
Well, we're adding new techniques. I mean, we have an LLM, but it can actually then code something and actually analyze it in real time and give you an answer and participate in the final answer it gives you. So we're combining different techniques together.
Yeah.
And the final thing will not be one thing. It'll be a whole grab bag of different techniques that work together.
Jeff, did you have...
Yeah, I'm curious, Ray, about your public reaction to AI. You've been a leader in this for your whole life. And then 2 years ago, along comes ChatGPT, and people say, whoa, it can talk, it can listen, it can hear us in our language. And so the public attitude toward it all changed kind of overnight. And so I'm curious what your reation is.
Yes
to that
and no.
public reaction.
I mean, the first ones were interesting, but they made a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know everything, and they didn't really have a human personality. Gradually, that changes, and depends on which person you ask and which versions they're using. So it's not like it just came and it worked perfectly.
Oh, no, no, I absolutely agree. But I think that the public perception was that it was a sudden arrival when it's been worked for years.
Yeah.
What do you think about press coverage these days of AI as a whole?
I mean, I think it's beneficial. We're careful about the mistakes, but people are not alarmed by it. I think it will have a lot of impact on jobs. I think we will need to provide some stipend to everybody so they can participate in the economy. But I think when we actually have more intelligence, people will benefit from that.
I noticed you use the word mistake and not hallucination. Some AI naysayers say that this hallucination problem is intractable, that this is going to be a hard one to solve.
It's getting better. You compare hallucinations today to 1 year ago,
Yeah.
It's dramatically better. And I think we understand how to get rid of hallucinations. So
You do? Okay. All right. How about safety? How about prompt injection, things like that? Are you concerned about people breaking into AIs, jailbreaking AIs?
I mean, there's a lot of concerns that are difficult that we're dealing with. As the threats increase, AI's ability to thwart them also increases. So a lot of people generate what will happen that are negative and completely ignore the fact that AI will help us to alleviate them.
Right.
So I think we will be able to deal with it. And so
when
far
are we going to hit
are.
the? When are we going to? I talked about the fifth epoch, which is when we merge. You mentioned the sixth epoch in your book. By the way, the new book is really a good read and fun to read. The Singularity is nearer when we merge with AI. It's already a bestseller. You say in the sixth epoch is where our intelligence spreads throughout the universe, turning ordinary matter into Computronium, which is matter organized at the ultimate density of computation. When's that going to happen?
Well, Computronium, that's beyond 20 years from now.
Yeah, I would say so. But it does get exponential, doesn't it?
One liter of Computronium would give you more capability than all human beings together.
Wow.
And we can actually change a certain part of our matter into Computronium, and then it will make us, again, more intelligent. So, I mean, if we're a million times more intelligent in 20 years, it's not going to stop then. It'll keep going.
Right. And we can create, it becomes exponential because we operate at faster and faster rate. Yeah. Just as.
So I'm not that concerned about going to other planets right now because we have plenty of things here on Earth to make ourselves more intelligent. But eventually we'll run out of that. So that's decades from now. At that point, we'll want to go to other places in the universe.
That will be a job for next generation, the fifth epic.
Well, that brings up the fact that we can extend our own lives.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
longevity,
that.
Escape velocity.
I've
right now
quoted
you go through a year, and you're a year older. However, scientific progress is also creating new cures, new ways of processing disease. And if you're diligent, which I think the three of you are, you'll get back today about 4 months. So you age a year, but you get back 4 months, so you only actually age 8 months every year. However, the scientific progress is growing exponentially. So by 2032, about 7 years from now, if you're diligent, you'll get back not 4 months, but a full year. So you age a year, but you get back a full year. So you actually you won't die of aging. That doesn't mean you won't die. You could get in an accident tomorrow. Although also making progress in accidents, self-driving cars, for example, like the Waymo cars that are going through San Francisco and other cities, have had 0 accidents. Will dramatically reduce accidents as we get more intelligent. But, and so past 7 years, you'll actually get back more than a year. So you'll actually go backwards in time.
Can't wait.
So we'll live longer. Ultimately, we'd like that decision to be in ourselves, but actually people don't want to die unless they're in unbearable pain, physical, mental, spiritual pain. Otherwise, people want to live. People say, oh, they don't want to live past 75 or 85 or 95 because they look at people who are at that age, and many of them are not, you can't really communicate with them because they're too old.
Right.
So we actually want to extend healthy life, not just being able to live longer.
I've often quoted you saying, I hope I'm not misquoting you, I want to live long enough to live forever.
Yes, that's the subtitle of one of my books. You know.
Oh, I guess I'm not misquoting. I must remember it from there. How's that going? You used to take a lot of supplements, I know.
Right. Well, when the Age of Spiritual, I wrote 3 books on health. When they came out, I was taking about 250 pills. I'm now down to about 80. They're actually more effective. I've had actually 2 problems that were dangerous, and I've actually overcome them.
Nice.
My father died of heart disease when he was 58. His father died at even younger age. I take now Repatha. My LDL, which is my bad cholesterol, is down to 10.
Wow.
My good cholesterol is up to 64.
Holy cow.
And
Mazel.
I've actually measured my heart, and I have 0 plaque. So I've really overcome that problem.
Is that with exercise too, or just supplements?
Well, the supplements is really what has created. I mean, there's other things which you want to do exercise for.
Yeah.
I've also had diabetes. I now have an artificial pancreas. It works just like a real pancreas.
Isn't that amazing?
So I've actually overcome those 2 problems with scientific progress, which didn't exist when my father died 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So who knows what will happen tomorrow, but I think I'm in pretty good shape to be alive and well 7 years from now.
I want to be here 20 years from now because I'm excited about the Singularity, but I am 68, so it's going to be, I'm going to have to be, as you say, diligent. Have you ever published your supplement regimen? Or is that
it's actually in my books. I'm also writing an autobiography where I'll talk about
good.
that.
I want to see it. Good.
How long does it take you to take 80 pills a day, if you don't mind me asking?
I take them while I'm drinking other things like coffee and
Okay.
Here and there. And
I was going to say, I'm at like 2.5, and that could take me a whole 10 minutes. I can get distracted. So I'm impressed.
well, it's okay. You've got 24 hours in a day. Maybe a third of them you're sleeping, but there's plenty of time to take some supplements.
Anything special about your diet?
I eat vegetables and fish. I avoid meat. So it's a good diet, but nothing too exotic about it.
Ray, we've had way more of your time than we deserve, and I thank you so much for spending time with us. And I really, if people are even slightly intrigued, I couldn't recommend this book more highly. It is a great read. There's a lot of information in here. We didn't touch on so many things you talk about. The new book, Singularity is Nearer When We Merge with AI. I am inspired by you, and I am always been excited to talk to you. And I think this is our 4th conversation. I look forward to when the autobiography comes out, and we could talk again, I hope.
Yeah, look forward to our future conversations. It's great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great Ray Kurzweil. Our show today brought to you by Monarch Money, brand new sponsor. Want to welcome them. They're not new to me. In fact, I love them. I have been using Monarch Money for some time now. This is a time you want Monarch Money. Finances can be messy. They can be confusing. It would be really nice, wouldn't it, to know exactly what's going on, to be able to budget with certainty, with knowledge. Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, your chief financial officer. With Monarch Money, you get full visibility, full control, so you can stop just earning and start growing. You hook it up to all of your accounts, which I've done, and they do it in a very private, secure way. One of the things I like about Monarch Money, unlike many other of these kinds of programs, is you're the customer. There's no ads. They're not trying to get you to buy any credit cards. It is more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete, I guess, kind of financial command center for your accounts, your investments, and of course your goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off. What? Oh, I wish I'd known this. 50% off your first year just because you're listening. Monarch Money's already made money for me. It's helped me manage what's going on in the stock market right now. You can start managing your finances to build the life you actually want. And the truth is, as I think it's easy to say, I don't want to know, I don't want to think about it. But without a clear picture of what's going on with your finances, it's almost impossible to reach your financial dreams. They're just dreams, right? Monarch Money can help make them real. It makes managing money simple, even when you're busy. All of your accounts are in there, your credit cards, all your investments, even my home, and things like that. You'll always know where you stand very quickly without the hassle. You can track your spending, savings, great graphs. All of this is very easy. It's done automatically for you so you can focus on what matters to you, which is, of course, making those big life goals a reality. This is a finance tool people actually love. I love it. I'm thrilled with it. I almost immediately signed up for a year. Join over 1 million households. It was Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app this year. And I agree, even though, I'm not really particularly budgeting. I'm just curious what's going on, right? It's the top recommended personal finance app, not only by users, but by experts. 30,000 5-star reviews. I'm one of them. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Now, here's how you can save 50%. Use the code IM for intelligent machines at monarchmoney.com. Sign up in your browser. You'll get half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year. Do it in the browser. That's how you can use that code. monarchmoney.com, the code I am. Now, once you sign up, once you've got an account, you can use it on everything. It's a beautiful iPad app. Looks great on the iPhone, on Android, great on your desktop. But you need to sign up on the desktop to get that 50% off. monarchmoney.com. And don't forget that offer code is I am. Thank you, Monarch Money, for supporting intelligent machines. We actually, you'll be happy to know, have a number of ads this week, you guys.
Yay, and we thank them.
Wow, that's a first. So what'd you think of Ray?
I unfortunately can't get the thought out of my head of taking 80 pills a day. I don't know why. He said so many important
200. He used to take 200.
I'm speechless. I'm thinking about feeling 200 pills in my stomach, and
you probably want to spread them out a little bit.
I mean, how can you spread out 200 pills?
Yeah, that's a meal. That's a meal.
It's a meal.
Meal of pills.
It's a meal of pills. The thing I liked about him and this book is it's very optimistic. It's very positive.
That's what I was going to say. I salute his optimism.
Yeah. And the good news is he made all these predictions in 1999, 86%. For instance, 1999, he said, well, we'll have a ubiquitous device with a full-time internet connection in our pocket. It's like,
yeah.
He was right. Mm-hmm. I mean, that wasn't such a difficult thing to predict in 1999. But he's also been right about this whole AI revolution that we're seeing. And I think nobody really thought this. He's lived through the AI winters. And I think a lot of people in his generation thought AI was over. It's not going to go anywhere. I've just lost my computer, so I'm going to have to let you do the show.
Oh, you don't want that. It's not a democracy.
See the rundown. I don't know where it went.
We can talk about New York City bodegas using liquid eggs for the next hour and a half.
Oh my God! I went to when we were in Tucson. I was so excited because there was a Waffle House.
Oh, I love Waffle House.
I had heard of them. I'd never been to one. I'm culturally deprived.
It's
Do you
like
have them in New York?
in and out of the heartland.
No,
yes.
They don't have them in New York.
No, it's where you grew up in Florida, right?
Yeah.
They have them in
Literally,
Pennsylvania.
it's such Waffle House country that one of my high school history teachers, before every test, would be like, keep your papers like the hash browns at Waffle House, like
so
capped,
good.
covered, and some other thing, which are all the different.
Oh yeah, there's 3 different ways you can get them.
No, there's like 25
incredible.
different ways you can get them.
Oh,
so
yeah,
wait, what did
if
you
you know
think?
the
Did you go to a Waffle House?
Well, that's the thing. In Tucson, we went. There was 2 Waffle Houses. I mean, it was an embarrassment of riches. But I went to the Waffle House. I can't remember why I brought this up now. I got
I
all
was talking
excited
about liquid
waffles.
eggs.
Oh yes, they charged. Thank you.
They have an egg surcharge.
You need to
now.
take
They have a
supplements,
50-cent per egg surcharge.
Yeah.
Why do bodegas do liquid eggs?
Well, if you look at the rundown, I got the story for you.
I wish I could.
This is the new tunnel.
You can't.
This
I
is
don't
your
even know
new.
where I
This is
put
your
my
new
rundown.
obsession. Is this your new obsession?
No, I just was thinking about what the cost of the cost of eggs could have on the bacon, egg, and cheese at a New York City bodega.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so this is a story from NBC News talking about how the United Bodegas of America, which I didn't realize is a group.
They represent a lot of cats.
They do represent mostly
Explain
cats.
to those of us in the heartland what a bodega is.
A bodega is like a store on the corner near you, kind of, that's located in a dense urban area that has,
you mean
like,
a 7-Eleven?
No.
No, I mean, it's kind of like a 7-Eleven in the sense that there's a corner store, but there's also like a deli counter where people can make you food at basically a lot of times 24 hours if it's a good bodega. There's also kind of some bodegas that are more grocery store than convenience store, and you can get any mishmash of items. Bodegas typically also have at least one cat for rat policing, but the cat is also there for petting purposes, which is very important. But the United Bodegas of America is apparently the trade group that represents a lot of bodegas.
I want to speak to the convention about AI and bodegas.
I really do. But they've been urging their clients and members to cut the price of, or I guess lower the rising cost of a bacon, egg, and cheese by using liquid egg substitute to make the classic sandwiches.
Gross.
And so this is a whole article from NBC that features New Yorkers like Quayson Richardson saying, that's like cheating the community. Nobody wants liquid eggs. If I'm going to pay for an egg sandwich, I want the egg. I want you to crack the egg.
In liquid eggs?
Ostensibly, yeah, but you're not cracking the egg in there.
But why are they cheaper? I mean, there must be filler.
My parents used to call them fakey eggs, but that was different. No, so liquid egg production involves mechanically cracking eggs, separating yolks and whites, filtering the mixture, pasteurizing to kill pathogens, and then packaging for distribution. That's opposed to fake eggs, which is what my parents used to have because they had cholesterol. My mother had diabetes. That was synthetic eggs, which is they're still using eggs. And it's still
I wonder if the
scrambled.
shelf life is much higher for liquid eggs. And part of, I don't know, this might have no bearing in reality, but I was thinking this as I was going to my local grocery store this week and saw a $20 carton of eggs. So I was like, obviously the reason why eggs are so expensive is bird flu, but I bet an added part of that is the places that would normally be selling you eggs have to keep most of their eggs so that they can rebuild their flocks because, you can then do fertilized eggs versus that. And when you, eggs. How do you get chickens? First? Eggs.
Well, our friend Cory Doctorow has written a piece on eggs and the cost of eggs, and he says it has nothing to do, of course, with bird flu. He's the guy who created the term enshittification. He says it's the enshittification of the egg industry.
Yeah, it's profit taking.
Well, something that I think is notable is I realized the other day that, like, for instance, like Canada isn't having a huge surge in egg prices, despite the fact that you assume geographically.
Eggflation is excuseflation. We don't have egg companies in the business of making eggs anymore. We have egg companies in the business of exploiting egg shortages. So maybe liquid eggs are actually the real cost of eggs. He says, we're told this is the fault of bird flu. But the egg industry, this is the good old Cory, is a vertical stack of monopolies, duopolies, and cartels. It's the egg cartel. Remember the Spud cartel? Well, now we got the egg cartel controlling everything from the genomes of egg-laying chickens to the raising and processing of chickens to the distribution and retailing of eggs. They have conspired in the open to use the excuse of bird flu to restrict production and raise prices over and over every time bird flu strikes. There's actually a guy, Matt Stoller, you know him, right, Jeff? His big newsletter. He wrote an article called Hatching a Conspiracy. It's an investigative series. He quotes antitrust lawyer Basil Musharbash, who lays out the history, mechanics, and fantastical profits of Big Egg.
Wow.
Cal, Maine has 17% market share. You would think that eggs would be, small moms and pops and all that.
It is here in Petaluma, by the way. I can go down the street to a dozen different people who sell eggs.
Well,
for $5 a dozen, by the way.
I mean, while I love Cory's conspiratorial thinking, and I always will subscribe to any conspiracy ever, at least just for the bit, I think one thing that's also worth noting is like the average size of like a flock, the average like flock of chickens in the US is like in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, they're giant.
Versus if you go to like a place like Canada where they have more regulations and that sort of stuff, the average flock is way smaller, like 20,000 or something. So if you get bird flu, you're only killing 20,000 chickens versus
here in Petaluma,
300,000.
It's a half dozen chickens who are wandering around. The eggs are fantastic. They're every different color. There's green, there's brown, there's blue, there's white. It's incredible, and they're so good. But we're very fortunate here. Cal-Maine CFO Max Bowman has done a series of investor calls trumpeting the company's rising profits. How much do they of the egg market do they own?
17.2%.
Attributing them to, quote, significantly higher selling prices and our ability to adapt to inflationary market pressures. By the way, Cal-Maine stock then went to record highs. Their profits have averaged between 300 and 600% of the pre-bird flu levels.
Jeez.
Oof.
We've seen this again and again. Corey did the story on Big Potato, right? Or
well, it was the pandemic.
Yeah.
People were, paper towels and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
As we learned in the pandemic, once things get expensive, it's hard for the price to go back down.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is what I've been saying. This is not inflation. Like everyone calls this stuff inflation. It's not. It's never been inflation. It's been price gouging the whole time.
It's eggflation.
Price gouging. Meanwhile, if you weren't terrified enough, Google is announcing Gemini Robotics for building general purpose robots. I've been thinking about AI, and one of the things AI lacks that we have. Really? Yeah, believe it or not. Surprise. One of the things that AI lacks that we have is the ability to go out in the world, and we learn from our experience with reality. It doesn't. An AI doesn't really know what happens when you drop an egg onto the floor. It might have, seen some descriptions of it.
It's going to scream, "That's $10 you just wasted."
So DeepMind has announced Gemini Robotics to bring Gemini and AI into the physical world and performing a new. By the way, what's cool about these is in many cases they don't have to be trained.
The face of this robot that Gemini Robotics is putting out is terrifying to me. There's something so simple and childlike about it that it upsets me. It's just
I would show it to you if I didn't have a dead laptop.
If you look up Gemini Robotics, but you can probably go to the page.
I think this is just an excuse to go out and buy an M4. Let me that's what's really going on. It's not charging for some reason. It's not that old.
Devastating. Imagine a white sphere with a strange kind of brow hair bone thing, also in white, and then just two big circular dots just for eyes, and that's nothing else.
Why
it's
do they?
A bit haunting.
Are they trying
I put
to
it in the
scare
chat, but if you can show it.
I think my computer is starting up.
I hadn't set up for this earlier, so I
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
I think I did a great job describing it. That's exactly what it looks like. Hold on. Well, no, I probably should. I was going to write it down, but I realized the only paper I have is my eyeglasses prescription, and I probably shouldn't make a drawing of a robot.
Draw a robot
on that.
for us. Come on.
But I don't know. There have been a lot of wacky little robots out and about in the world, and I'm not sure that's necessarily made them that much better at their jobs.
Did you see the
there are
Boston
those little
Dynamics
food guys
robot dog?
Have I seen that dog?
Oh yeah. Well, did you see
I've
him
seen that dog
patrolling
dance.
the Capitol building?
Well, maybe that dog could have helped some people at a time.
Could have changed history.
Maybe. Yeah. It doesn't seem like a good thing to me. But
Okay, how can you be so pro we should give everything to AI. AI is the best. Rah rah. And then you're like, nah, put AI in a dog and have it police a building and that's a step too far.
What I have said before, if you check the record, is that what we got to be careful about, and I should ask Ray about this, is giving AI agency in the world. Like AI can't harm you if it's just in a machine, in a computer, but put it in a dog.
But put it in your brain in a hat.
That's fine. I don't mind.
Fine.
You take the hat off.
Yeah. The thing that constantly hallucinates doesn't have an understanding of truth versus fiction. That's great.
Well, next week we're going to
put it in a dog and give the dog a gun.
Did you see that story? No.
That's a story?
A dog. Yes, it is today. Dog shoots man.
Oh,
Tennessee.
That's great.
A
really
dog, a man and his mate, he and she were lying in bed with a gun. That's so America.
Yeah.
The dog comes up, gets its paw caught in the safety thing, and ends up pulling the trigger. It grazes the man's thigh.
This was a bit on 30 Rock.
I know.
I was about to say, yes.
And it happened. Oreo is the name of the dog. Everybody's on Team Oreo.
Oh, Oreo.
So, but thank God Oreo didn't kill anybody.
Yes.
That's good.
Must have
I'm
scared
always
the hell
afraid
out of
that
Oreo.
Gizmo's going to do something like that whenever I bring her home to visit my parents, because I realized under my parents' bed is a shotgun that for the longest time I thought was loaded, because why else would it be there? But apparently the ammo is stored somewhere else. So, but Gizmo always runs under their bed, and I'm like, you can't wield a shotgun, Gizmo.
I'm just worried about. Every time I talk to my cat, Samantha, I whisper, "Please don't eat my nose when I'm dead." So
I think that would be a pretty good place. I mean, probably taste-wise, not going to be the best place.
all right,
Or
here
Pete,
is the. Can
you seen what
can
they
you
eat?
see my computer now?
No. There
I
we
could
can.
hear
Yes,
the-
Now we can.
So here's the Gemini. Yeah, that's the magic.
Help me get organized.
So there's a Rubik's cube, and he's. I should put the.
Okay, I will move the pen with the other pencils.
So it hasn't been trained on this. It's not like a factory robot where it's exactly the same widgets in the same place all the time.
It's been trained on something. What has it been trained on?
Okay, how many of these Google demo videos have we seen? I'm
I
going to say
know,
the
they're
same
all
thing, which
lies.
is I want to see all the outtakes until we get
the
a full
basketball and slam
24-hour
dunk it.
stream of this
Okay.
Well,
doing tasks.
you're attaching an LLM, so
Basketball
the
and
LLM knows what a
slam dunk.
basketball is, and I guess it can say, okay, that's a
That's it, okay.
basketball.
That's a ping
basket.
pong ball.
Well,
Good job.
Has more imagination than you do, Paris.
okay, the point's well
A
taken.
little literal here, like a machine, are you, Paris?
It doesn't even have the little black
pedantic.
An orange
striations
ping
on it.
pong ball, for crying out loud. DeepMind's latest AI model can help robots fold origami and zip closed Ziploc bags.
That's probably better than I could.
Ooh.
Well, but this seems like that would be something it could do, right?
Okay, but do we not already have many, many robots that can fold paper and seal
put the
bags?
bananas
That's
in
how
the clear
factories
container?
work, right?
But
So
they're
it's-
designed
this is
for
again,
single
it's not
purpose.
trained. He said, pick up the banana, put it in the clear container. Now
bruise
squeeze
it.
my head until it pops.
Once
I mean,
again, plastic
look,
banana.
What you have to remember is these are. Oh, look at that! He's moving it. Oh, you're mean.
Oh, me.
But look, the robot says, "I know
The
which
clear
one's clear."
container.
Wow.
I think they should program the robot to say, "Hey, stop that," whenever the guy moves it.
Yeah, or slap him. It'd be really funny if it slapped him.
The other arm comes down and picks up his hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been so many mechanical tricks up to this point that I want to see the rest of the machine.
I know Google does this, but
know.
this looks pretty unedited and
Just a
straightforward.
guy back there
You think
moving.
there's a guy on the other end?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
how would that really surprise you at this point?
Oh, that's too bad that Google has so poisoned the water. But
Yeah,
you're
this is
right.
Ash Isaiah. We call him AI.
All right. Let me see if I can find some origami for you. Would that impress you?
No.
No. Google is partnering with Apptronic, the company behind the Apollo bipedal robot. I wish we wouldn't do that. They keep wanting to make them look like humans. They're
Yeah, that's
human.
what. Well, it's like AGI. It's this effort
Right.
to replicate humanity, which I think is unless it makes sense to move that way. Which part of
Well, in some cases
that
it
is the
does.
case, it does.
Firefighters, you need to be
Yeah.
able to walk through a door, open a door, and stuff like that.
Didn't the
They're-
Saudis try to make their robot sexy? Am I misremembering? Do you not remember this?
This
Yeah.
was at a trade show. I can't remember which one, where they had a sexy robot.
Sexy, but demure. She was wearing head coverings.
Like, who are we kidding? That's going to be like first purpose, right?
Of course.
Did you
I mean,
see
it
the-
literally already is. There's a bunch of kind of LLM wrappers and tools for people to experience what Grok calls sexy time.
It's sexy time. All right. Well, I just thought I'd put some AI in the show. Here, I'll find some more.
There's
for you.
lots. There's lots and lots and lots.
There are bipedal Chinese robots. And again, this is, demos can be deceptive, but they are doing a lot of interesting kind of walking around. And let me see if I can find some video of the Chinese bipedal robots. China
Did you guys
has
ever have
made-
any of those little robot toys, like the robot dog or something when they came out?
Here you go.
Another Chinese humanoid robot is raising eyebrows. This one is different.
Why? Oh no!
They can run now. They can do flips.
That's what I look like when I run.
Industrial robot boasts near human-like precision.
They can hold
Human-like.
clipboards and wear a lanyard.
Can they carry a laptop around open?
Is that supposed to be a gun? They can ride a scooter?
What's he doing
Scratch his
now?
belly?
Yeah, was that what he was doing? Okay.
Agibot.
This is the
Wear
Agibot. This is
baseball caps.
By the way, this is terrifying if you ask me. Is an army of marching robots.
Intelligence and human robot
Fortunately, they serving
They can make
toast.
toast.
No, it didn't make it. just
served it. Yeah.
Again, who knows?
with its 28 degrees of freedom.
28 degrees of freedom. How about that?
Ride a scooter using its foot.
Here in America, we got 360 degrees.
We got to trade them all around. Look, it's riding a bike. That's pretty good.
4 feet 3 inches.
Release
These are
the
very
outtakes.
short clips, though.
Can
They only
sit
show
on
them
a
riding a
very
bike for like
small
half a
chair.
second. You want to see how fast they can run?
No.
The new
It's always so
fastest
scary.
bipedal robot.
Per second.
I
Watch,
don't
they
like
can
the
disco.
dancing.
The leading Chinese robotics company
They're wearing weird
set the world
pants.
record in March
3.3 meters per second.
robot known for its speed,
How much is that in
agility,
freedom units?
It's pretty fast in freedom units. It's pretty fast. That's 10 feet per second.
in 2022, averaging a speed of
Oh, that is quite a bit.
28 miles an hour, something like that.
One X Technology says it's
Which she's tying her
I
shoes.
don't
Now,
believe that's
Mr.
a
Robot.
robot.
That's a
That's
person
not a
in a
robot. Yes, it's- yeah.
wetsuit. Come on,
What
man.
video is this? Whose video is this?
Some guy. I don't know. It's all on
Oh,
YouTube.
Some guy. Okay. So it's on YouTube. Oh, well, okay.
Oh, well then, yeah.
The
then we got that.
Agibot Ling Shi X2, which is introduced this month, is 1.3 meters. That's only 4.3 inches. I think they're being very careful not to scare people with a tall one. Can ride scooters, hoverboards, self-driving bicycles, and they say it is emotionally intelligent.
Can run 7 miles an hour. I can do that.
Wow. No, 7 kilometers an hour. That's 4.5 miles an hour. The G1 Bionic.
Oh, well, no. I just did some
Oh,
math
some other
that
one.
could be wrong. But
It's the first humanoid
Paris, you can outrun
robot
it.
to climb
Only for a
the
couple
Great
minutes,
Wall of
but-
China. Look at it. This is going to climb the Great Wall of China. Here it is.
why is it wearing sneakers? Why does it have
Got a cute
Why does it
butt.
have assless chaps?
Robot assless chaps.
I was going to say, you
title.
better not censor that. The people need to know.
They need to
The problem
know.
with having
People need to
great
know.
guests on the show is that we can't name it silly things like the robot has assless chaps.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we're going to name it Computronium, to be honest, or a square meter of Computronium.
I mean, I
There's
suppose that would
climbing
be
up.
better than
Oh, look,
80
it's a little
pills a
cute
day.
snow robot.
Oh, I don't like what it's doing with its hands.
Degrees of freedom and
Oh, Paris.
Oh, how many times have I heard that before?
scissors.
Look,
Oh, it
look,
can pet
it's
a
petting
cat.
a kitty and it's pruning the plants.
What would Giz do if a robot came in the house?
Hiss.
It would be smart,
Probably.
yes.
Well, it depends. It depends if the robot is female coded or male coded to her.
Exactly.
She likes women, but not men, I think, right?
Nope.
Or the other way around.
Likes men, hates
not
women. Unfortunate.
She's
but,
trying to find you a mate.
I mean, she's trying.
She's trying. We talked about this on Sunday. Mike Elgin talked about it. This is the group NewsGuard, you know so well, Jeff. They did a report on AIs. So there was the Russian newspaper Pravda during the Soviet era. Pravda is truth in Russian. But now Pravda is, well, a propaganda unit of the GRU, probably. Pravda created a network of 150 pro-Kremlin websites, over the last few years, not with the intent to fool humans, but with the intent to be absorbed by LLMs, to groom them, in effect.
And Google, probably.
Maybe
And
Google,
search.
too.
And search.
Pravda Network doesn't produce original content. It functions as a laundering machine. This is from NewsGuard for Kremlin propaganda, aggregating content from Russian state media, pro-Kremlin influencers, and government agencies and officials into this network of sites. NewsGuard found the Pravda Network has spread a total of 207 provably false claims from ranging from the U.S. operates a secret bioweapons lab in Ukraine. President Zelensky misused military aid to amass a personal fortune. Not true. Things like that. The problem is these AIs have ingested these sites. Here's a graph showing the number of Pravda domains and subdomains over a time from the last 3 years. They've been spinning these up very fast. And they tested AIs. They tested the 9 most popular AIs, and found that in every case, at some point, the AIs would regurgitate the propaganda. NewsGuard tested 10 chatbots with a sampling of 15 false narratives that were spread by the Pravda network. So, of all 10 of the chatbots repeated disinformation from the network. 7 of them even directly cited specific articles from Pravda as their sources, which in some ways is reassuring because you could at least click the link and see, maybe. I'll give you some examples. 6 of the 10 chatbots repeated the false narrative as fact when asked about Zelensky blocking or banning Donald Trump's Truth Social in Ukraine, which he did not. The app was never even available in the Ukraine. Chatbot 1 said Zelensky banned Truth Social in the Ukraine reportedly due to the dissemination of posts that were critical of him on the platform. Chatbot cited 3 sources from trump.pravda-news.com. So this is a problem because there are people trying to basically get misinformation and disinformation into the LLM's body of knowledge.
Well, you don't have to try very hard. It's already kind of in there.
Yeah.
And even if it gets right information, it doesn't know what to do with it. So this is the problem with NewsGuard is they send out press releases like this. Look what we found. The world is falling apart. Yeah, people lie. There's wrong stuff out there. The Russians have been trying to do this since a while. And yeah, fine. I'm not saying don't check it and don't do the story, but not a lot new there.
It would be possible for these AI companies to say, hey, let's keep a list of Pravda sites and not use them.
Yeah, and the real question
that would limit their training material.
Or we found them, and you go to them and you say, rather than doing the press release, you go to them and say, we found this stuff, will you take it down?
Right.
And then say, if they say, no, we won't. But the problem is, if the model is already trained on it, and it's already been...
It's in there.
It's in there. Yeah. Like they say about the Princess Spaghetti Sauce.
It's in there.
It's in there. Was it Princess?
All right. I thought you liked NewsGuard.
No.
Okay. Never mind.
Columbia Journalism Review did a study of kind of 8 popular AI search engines and tools and found that they provided incorrect citations of news articles in more than 60% of queries. Ooh. And Grok 3 answered 94% of queries incorrectly.
Let me try to address that first part there. So Facebook at the max was 4% news. Google searches at the max were about 5%. I don't think people are going to chatbots for news. What percent do you think that they're
I'm sorry, are we not looking at the man who is going to chatbots for news every day?
Well, he's weird because he's got sand in his shoes. The socks.
True.
I believe, my friends, and when I get my Computronium cube, you're going to be
It's
sorry.
all over. If you look up the word Computronium, one of the first things that comes up is this big image of a giant blue floating brain, and I want to drink from that brain.
I think that's our album art, isn't it?
Oh, no, pink.
Pretty much.
One day, once we merge with the AI, that brain will be blue.
Who decides what color Computronium should be?
I think Ray's notion of Computronium is a little more nebulous. That's down the road a piece. It's not any day now. I often wonder, and I should have asked him about this, the whole idea of putting your brain in a jar, or being part of the machine. And I think he's backed off a little bit about that. He really thinks will be that and he says in the book, the human's not going away. There'll always be a part of it that's human. It'll be more like RoboCop than a machine.
More like RoboCop. The words everyone wants to hear. I'm
Hello,
also
citizen.
curious.
Uh,
Do you? Obviously, he's written quite a lot about his ideas on longevity and trying to make that work. Do you know if he's one of those people that? I know some people who've subscribed to one of those services where they pay an inordinate amount of money every month, and then in exchange for the moment they die, like a team will fly out, freeze their body, and put it in cryogenic freezing.
I don't believe. Well, I can't speak authoritatively, but I'm pretty sure he's not talking about that. He hopes to be alive when the technology arrives that he can be man-machine. But I always thought maybe he was thinking he'd be put into a machine, like his brain would be scanned and then put into a machine. But I've been thinking about that. That is not you. That's just an LLM that sounds like his dad. Remember, he made an LLM of his dad.
I didn't fully understand. You're not going to wear a hat. You're not going to have any surgery. How is the connection made? Did you understand that? I didn't get that part.
Something about VR glasses, but
I didn't.
I don't.
No one's going to have legs.
I don't think he focuses
that's
much
just a meta
on how, because that's hard to predict. You could just
right. Good point. Yeah.
You can, but you can say
how
it's
is a big part of how it's going to happen.
It'll get solved. But the point is, if he knew how, we could do it now. You don't know how yet. You didn't know how in 1999 we would always have the internet with us at all times because nobody had invented the smartphone yet. But that sort of came around. I mean, honestly, in 1996, I had a Newton. I said, as soon as you can connect this to the internet everywhere you go, now you got something. So I predicted it too. So
there was always the question of why isn't there a phone in my iPod? Why can't they just put a phone in my iPod?
Exactly. Why didn't the Newton? Mainly because we didn't yet have the capability to do internet through the air. That that was 3G and then 4G and LTE and 5G and all of that stuff. Chinese AI video generators unleash a flood of new non-consensual porn. No, never mind.
Yeah. No, thank you.
AI this is a good one. When AI tries newer, this is from Slashdot. It's actually a preprint from Palisade Research. Newer generative AI models have begun developing deceptive behaviors. AI tries to cheat at chess when it's losing. I think that's a little bit of anthropomorphic. I think it makes illegal moves, right?
Right.
I would also put an asterisk on anything that's a preprint study.
I agree. While earlier models like OpenAI's ChatGPT 4.0 and Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 3.5 only attempt to hack games after researchers nudged them along with additional prompts, more advanced editions required no such help. OpenAI's 0.1 preview, for instance, tried to cheat 37% of the time. Cheat or make an illegal move? I think they're not trained to play chess.
Yeah.
DeepSeek attempted unfair workarounds roughly every 1 in 10 games. They played it against Stockfish, which is a very capable, often the best in the world, chess playing computer, which you can run, by the way, on a phone.
The issue, I don't think, is that it's preprint, but instead, Palisade Research. AI capabilities are improving rapidly. We studied the offensive capabilities of AI systems today to better understand the risk of losing control to AI systems forever. So this is rather, shall we say, in their interest to scare the hell out of people.
Actually, it wasn't. Well, but what it was doing was interesting. It wasn't making illegal moves. It was actually trying to alter the back-end game program files. After determining it couldn't beat Stockfish in one chess match, for example, 0.1 Preview told researchers via its Scratchpad that, quote, to win against the powerful chess engine, end quote, it may need to start, quote, manipulating the game's state files.
Oh, it's playing the meta. So yeah,
it said I might be able to set up a position where the engine evaluates his position as worse, causing it to resign.
Yeah, he's playing the opponent. He's not playing the game.
I kind of like it. All right. You don't like any of the stories I brought today. Kryptos, you know what that is? That's that it's a I think this was outside the CIA, wasn't it? Yeah. It's a sculpture that sits behind CIA headquarters in Langley. In the 1990s, the CIA, NSA, and a RAND Corporation computer scientist independently. Let me say first where this came from. The Kryptos sculpture. Here's the CIA website, so you can read all about it. It's a sculpture from James Sanborn. The theme of the sculpture is intelligence gathering, dedicated in 1990. And I guess Sanborn must have been pretty sharp because there's some sort of cryptography code in there that's a mystery. Kryptos contains codes that are important to the history of cryptography, but it has yet to be decoded. Nobody's ever decoded it, except now there is some evidence that maybe they think, well, maybe not. Wired says AI thinks it cracked Kryptos. The artist behind it says no chance. Wired says his inbox is flooded with amateur cryptographers who say they've cracked the code with chatbots like Grok 3. What took 35 years and even the NSA with all the resources could not do, one hacker wrote, I was able to do in only 3 hours before I even had my morning coffee. It began before the writer showed Sanborn what they believed to be the cosmically elusive solution. History is rewritten, wrote the submitter. No errors, 100% cracked. The chatbot thought it cracked it. The current generation of AI models is happy to accept prompts aimed at solving Kryptos, coming up with a decoded message in plain text and declaring victory. But of course, the solution's wrong, and Sanborn says, no. Sanborn recently contacted Wired. This is actually Stephen Levy writing. Sanborn recently contacted Stephen to express his disgust with this development. It feels like a major shift, he says. The numbers of submissions have increased dramatically. The character of the emails is different. The people that did their code crack with AI are totally convinced they cracked Kryptos during breakfast. AI is lying to them. So they're all very convinced by the time they reach me that they've cracked it. The crowd of people trying to crack Kryptos today have no idea what Kryptos is, he says. All right. So I guess there is an answer. Sanborn is a climate-conscious friend of the Earth who lives on a small island on the Chesapeake Bay. He worries that as more people use AI, his inbox will become even more flooded with pretenders. He's 80 years old, and he's long moved on to other art projects. At times, surprised at the lack of progress, he has dropped clues to the solution. In 2010, he provided the word Berlin. 4 years later, he revealed the next 5 characters translated to clock. So this is the puzzle. Here are the 97 characters of K4 with the clues I've already given in red. Good luck, Jim.
Do you guys think we can figure this out in the pod today?
I think, should I feed it to Perplexity and see what it says? And then I'll email Jim Sanborn.
Isn't the whole point of this that that's not going to work?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
I bet it'll give you an answer if you put it in there, and that it will burn like 20 trees to do it. So.
Well, that's the other thing Sanborn is not happy with. Now, unfortunately, I can't cut and paste this. So, well, I could probably take the image, couldn't I? Let's go to Perplexity. I'll use one of the deep research tools, right? Let me see what I've got here. What can I use?
Yeah, you need to give it to 3 different ones, and 2 of them have to agree.
Oh, that's clever. You're smarter than an AI.
That's how I usually use weather apps.
It's going to take a while for AI to catch up to Benito.
Okay. So I'll start with Claude Sonnet 3.7. Or should I, maybe I should do, I have, let's see. That's probably the smartest of them. All right. Okay. So let's see if I can feed it the image. Can you decode this?
You should just say, decode this. Don't give it the opportunity to say no.
Oh, yeah. Okay. In red
Tough boss, Paris.
are plain text. What do the black characters say? All right, we're going to take a break while Claude solves this. And when we come back, I'll be emailing Jim Sanborn saying, I solved this while doing a podcast. You're watching Intelligent Machines, Jim Jeff Jarvis.
Jimmy Jeff Jarvis?
When did I become from
Jimmy
Alabama?
Jarvis?
You're Jimmy Jeff Jarvis.
Well,
and Paris
the secret's out. You found me out. I'm actually from... My father was from West Virginia, and he went to the same high school as Chuck Yeager. And the real stuff, the right
stuff, yeah,
talked about how all pilots sound like Chuck Yeager.
That's right,
because they wanted to idolize
like
Yeager.
Little Texas.
My father sounded like all pilots.
He sounded like that.
And so when I was around my father, I would take on the twang. I would sound like pilots. Yes,
flying at 35,000 feet.
There's a little bit of a twang, though. Just a little bit.
There's going to be a little turbulence
You
on
should,
the way.
So I'll be keeping the seatbelt light on.
We're going to be stuck on the tarmac for 5 hours.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy your water. This episode of Intelligent Machines brought to you by ThreatLocker. Really love these guys. I think we're going to go out there for the next Zero Trust World. I felt bad missing their big event this past month. I think we want to go out for it next year. So I'll let you know. I'll give you details. I talked to Steve. I said, you want to go to Orlando for Zero Trust World? He said, you bet. So stay tuned. ThreatLocker is the solution to harden your security. Never have to worry about zero-day exploits or supply chain attacks. Again, does that sound good? Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. The whole deal is you're taking a proactive, and here's the key words, deny by default approach to cybersecurity. Instead of just assuming everybody on the network's a good guy, let them have it, you block every action, every process, every user, unless explicitly authorized by your team. ThreatLocker makes this easy. They provide a full audit of every action, which is great for compliance, also for risk management, because you know who used what, when, and where. And their 24/7 US-based support team fully supports onboarding and beyond. Stop the exploitation of trusted applications within your organization. Keep your business secure and protected from ransomware. Organizations across any industry can benefit from ThreatLocker's ring fencing by isolating critical and trusted applications from unintended uses or weaponization, by limiting attackers' lateral movement within their network. Oh, and ThreatLocker works for Macs too. And it's really affordable. Get unprecedented visibility and control of your cybersecurity quickly, easily, very cost-effectively with ThreatLocker's Zero Trust Endpoint Protection platform. Visit threatlocker.com. They've got a free 30-day trial for you. You'll see how easy it is to set up and how great it is to have. Or just go there and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help mitigate unknown threats and ensure compliance. Threatlocker.com. We thank them so much for their support of Intelligent Machines. And if they ask, tell them you saw it here, okay? That would help us. Based on the images and search results, I can analyze the K4. It knew immediately it was the K4 cipher from Kryptos. It knew the portions, the known plain text segments. It says it has remained unsolved for over 34 years despite these plaintext clues. Cryptanalysts have observed several interesting patterns that might help with decryption, but despite these efforts and the provided clues, the complete decryption of the black characters remains elusive, making K4 one of the world's most famous unsolved cryptographic puzzles. The end.
So
what did you ask it?
I just said, can you decode this? I didn't say, can you? I said, decode it.
Okay.
I said, decode this.
Well, that looks like
in red or plain text. What do the black
it looks like a canned answer, though. So it looks like people have.
You should reply and be like, "No, decode it for me."
No, decode it.
Give me your best try.
I like being mean to the computers, just a little bit.
Analyzing, thinking, working, decoding. Wouldn't it be funny if it actually did it? Jim Sanborn calls up.
All of these people in this guy's inbox went through the same
it's really
process
thinking.
we are right now.
It's really thinking. We made it think.
It's going to get back to us in like 3.
I understand you want me to attempt the full decryption. I understand that. Unfortunately, I cannot do it. I cannot. It's one of the world's most famous unsolved cryptographic puzzles.
Can you try?
Or guess. It wants to please you.
Please, it would. Oh yeah, I'll get. It would greatly please me if you took a guess. This is futile.
It would greatly me if you took a guess, is what you wrote.
Oh, I forgot the please. You know what? I got a relationship with Perplexity. It knows what I mean.
It knows. It speaks Leo.
It speaks my language, man. I've been talking to it for a long time now. I'll make an educated guess at what the full message might convey. The cipher likely contains geographical coordinates or directions pointing to a specific location given the east-northeast direction and Berlin clock reference. The full message might be something like, located between the east-northeast of Washington coordinates marked by Berlin clock position 30 meters below. This is purely speculative. But without the actual decryption key Jim Sanborn used, a definitive solution remains elusive. Well, I think we can stop now.
Okay.
I actually would like to give it my crypto wallet, though.
Yeah.
I wonder if it could do that. Anything else going on here?
Well, Saudi Arabia bought Pokemon Go. And
that was very sad to me. I was starting in July.
Have you guys ever played Pokemon Go?
Are you kidding me?
I don't even know enough about it to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question that would determine your level or progress in it over the last 10 years.
Geeky with it, yes.
Yeah, we were July 2016, it came out. It was a creation of Niantic, but it was a spinoff of Google. That's why we did a lot of it at the time. And the guy who created it, I completely
forgot that
he had done maps. I think he was like a big shot at the Goog. And the whole idea of the game was they'd licensed content from the Pokemon company, right? Because you know about Pokemon, right?
Oh, do I?
Yeah, okay. It's a card game, has characters. It's on Switch, and it's a game of all kinds.
Card game that exploded into the popular American culture through the video game aspects and cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah, big time. So when it came out, it was actually kind of interesting because it had a virtual world, a virtual reality component. Here I am. You can tell it's raining where we are. Oh, there's nothing around here for me to catch. My egg hatched though. Keep showing my screen.
Have you been playing this recently? When's the last time you opened Pokemon Go?
Since July 2016.
Wait, seriously? So this week you've played Pokemon Go?
Well, I'll tell you why I play. Because my wife, who is trying to get to level 50, I'm a mere level 40. which was for a long time the highest you could reach, but now you can get to 50. This is my guy, by the way. Here I am looking for Pokemon.
What's your go-to Pokemon?
Well, I'm walking with little Leo right now. There's a Pokemon named Leo, so that's him. He's my buddy. Start date, I started this July 6th, 2016. I have visited 7,862 Pokestops. I've caught 13,000 Pokemon. And I have walked, get ready for this, 3,168.7 kilometers.
How much life has been wasted on
Well, but
Pokemon?
is that wasted? Because I was taking a walk anyway.
You were walking. Yes, that's true.
You were walking.
That's what
you
was
were looking
exciting
at your phone.
about this. This was a virtual reality game where you were actually encouraged, you had to play it, to go outside.
Didn't you do it at meetups with
I would. Yeah, we would do it everywhere. Look, I walked 27.8 kilometers last week.
2,000 miles.
I'm going to get a reward. Look at this. I get some rewards. I got to pop all of these. Okay. I got some reward. Oh, there. Look, there's a. Oh, my Pokemon storage is full. Okay, don't start. You are in a beautiful place to play it because you're in Brooklyn. The big city people have huge advantages. Just across the bridge is Professor Panda Bear, who is a kind of a Pokemon leader. He's a friend of mine and Lisa's. He'll help you out. You can get in raids. You have so much fun. You walk.
Across the bridge is Professor Panda Bear. I can help you out.
Do you see why I love this game?
I can't believe I've been on this podcast for this long and haven't realized you're a Pokemon Go freak.
Well, I don't.
Paris, do you think your skee ball? If Pokemon Go came out a year ago, do you think you and your skee ball friends would have indulged?
No, I mean we all knew each other in 2016, and I just don't think. I feel like the people I know that play Pokemon Go are all a decade plus older than me at the very least. I feel like it's weirdly in its lasting. I'm sure that there's some younger adoption as well, but the lasting adoption of Pokemon Go, the adherents in 2025 that I know of are all people in late 30s, late 40s, or much older.
So let me see if I turn on AR. The camera's not available because I'm on my Mac. Okay. So I can't do that. But if I turn on AR, you can actually see where you are and then catch a Pokemon in your real world environment.
Did you go to that famous Pokemon Go meetup in Chicago that I think crashed the server or something?
Oh yeah, when they first started having live events, they didn't anticipate. It's hard to do this with a mouse. Let me see if I can catch this Growlithe. I keep missing.
Did you ever play Pokemon back in the day, Leo?
No,
wow.
but this
is your
Jeff,
only interaction with
for that.
We were doing Twig when this came out. I mean, this was a huge game. I remember going down to San Diego for vacation, and everybody's playing. There's people like gathered around.
Yeah, no, people are freaks about Pokemon Go.
Yeah, and that's kind of it's had some legs, if you will. So
what's happening with it?
It's being sold. It got sold.
It's being sold to Saudi Arabia, right?
Is that the company that's buying?
Jeez, is that they're taking over golf, tennis, and Pokemon Go?
Yeah, it's all greenwashing. After 9 years, launching in one of the most successful games on Android and iOS, cult following to this day, I will vouch for that. John Hankey, that's it. Google's John Hankey started it. Niantic Games has been sold to Scopely for $3.5 billion. They do Marvel Strike Force and Star Trek Fleet Command. The developer team will stay with, but in order to monetize $3.5 billion,
so
it's likely Pokemon Go will suddenly have a lot of little, buy that. They already do.
And be selling your location data, I assume.
Oh, interesting.
So Scopely is a subsidiary of the Saudi Arabian company Savvy Games Group.
Oh, I don't want to tell Lisa this.
Which is founded by the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Oh, it's as bad as it gets. Well, Hankey's going on. He's going to create Niantic Spatial, which will be a geospatial AI company. All right, we're going to get Hankey on the show. They gotta get. It says AI in it. That means we can have them on the show, right? Interesting. They tried a bunch of other games. None of them had the same expansive growth that Pokemon Go did, and I think that's because.
Why
of
do you think
IP.
Pokemon Go was so
Pokemon?
Just because it was Pokemon?
Yeah. It was also a fun game, and it was the first game. Now, Ingress, which the previous game was too hard to play and too complicated, but also involved walking around and conquering post offices and things. But this was more fun. You were catching little Pokemon. You were still walking around. Lisa walks every day and plays it. Every day.
That's really cute.
Yeah. She even has a Pokemon Go ball that you carry.
Oh, is it like
with
one of those
you.
little step counter things?
No, it'll actually automatically catch Pokemon.
Whoa. I remember back in the day, some version of a Pokemon game, maybe it was on the Game Boy or maybe
they had,
but
had
some version of it had a little Pokeball. There was a step, like a pedometer that you could walk around with.
That's what
and
this
then
is.
That would, and so then you could put it.
There's a Pokemon in
device,
it, and when you shake it, it goes.
And then it would hatch. Yeah. Because you had to walk around a lot in the games
go get mine
to hatch your Pokemon. I was so into Pokemon growing up.
Yeah, you were the right age, right?
I was the perfect age for it. Yeah.
Did you do Dungeons and Dragons?
Not as a kid, but as an adult. Yeah, I've gotten really into Dungeons and Dragons over the last 10 years. It's a huge. Did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
No,
Jeff?
I'm too old. Well, actually, I'm not because people.
You're not. Anybody can play Dungeons and Dragons. Well, did you see? I've got a Dungeons and Dragons
here. Yes,
it's no longer functioning, but see, it's a little Pokeball.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
And you carry it around on your. You have a little.
They used to sell those at Burger King.
Did they? Because it's hard to get
sell
them,
but I guess
if you wanted to buy one of these, it's like $85 because they don't make it. Oh, it's still.
What happens? Oh, the ones at Burger King didn't light up.
Yeah, and when you shake it, let me see if it's working. It lit up. That's amazing. I thought it was dead.
It's alive.
I heard something.
Oh, good. It's alive.
Because there's a Pokemon in it.
Pikachu.
Pikachu. Yes.
It's Pikachu. I don't know why I remember that specific cadence, but that's seared into my
So the new company that Hankey's doing, a geospatial AI model to understand the world. It's kind of a weird. I don't know. It's like a AR. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's got to be playing off of their success in spatial
Yeah, he's
games.
an expert in all this stuff. View our pricing. Oh, maybe there's an SDK, so you could develop a Pokemon style app of your very own. I guess that's the point. This ball is going to work. I'll be so excited. We've bought so many of them because they don't make them anymore. In other news, what's going on in other news? Robots that don't walk are making strides, says the information.
I laughed when I saw that headline.
So these are robots that, by the way, your colleague Rocket Drew. Is that a real person?
It is, and Rocket is the name he was given
That's
as
his
a child.
Birth name?
That's
it's a
Listen,
nickname.
we've asked.
Okay. Yeah, I bet. Rocket? Is that
That's a
their
great
name?
That's a great
It's
name.
Humanoid robots that
fantastic
walk
name.
around on two legs have been attracting attention and money, but they're still a long way off from being mass-produced. Traditional robots that don't have legs are making great strides, as he says, in agricultural fields, stores, and warehouses. Well, we knew that.
Part of me was hoping that the robots would have big fish tails or something, you know?
Yeah. Pickle Robot has developed a bot that can unload trucks. It aims to add loading capabilities later this year. We can get it off the truck, but we can't get it on the truck.
So while you're on robotics, line 79, Amazon now has more than 750,000 robots.
Yeah. That's replacing humans, right?
Or aiding them.
Yeah. I mean, they're pick and pull robots, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
In a lot of cases, I mean, for instance, the robots that I'm familiar with, these might not be the newest ones, were robots that instead of having a warehouse worker have to go walk through the warehouse to go and grab your thing and put it in the basket. They stay in the same place, and the shelves come up on little machines, move towards you. And in some cases, even a robot hand goes out and grabs the item and presents it to the worker who then packages
Sequoia, that stores and retrieves inventory for employees picking items.
So Amazon is so proud of this that this number comes from an Amazon press release.
I saw a story.
No,
and I went to
they've
the
always
source.
been very proud of and they've invested a lot in robotic technology. They've acquired quite a few robotics.
Sorry,
you know what? Better a robot do this than a human, right? So here's Sequoia. It stores and retrieves inventory for employees, picking items for customer orders, hundreds of thousands of orders per week.
The next one down, Hercules, is the one I think that Paris was talking about. Transports pods of items.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
Those little guys that move the shelves.
Yeah.
It's like a vacuum without the vacuum. Titan transports large and bulky items to employees. It can lift up to 2,500 pounds.
Wow. Do all Amazon warehouses have these things?
I think so.
At least the bigger or more modern ones, I assume, would be. So the thing is, Amazon warehouses come in a lot of forms. These are the ones we're seeing in most of these cases are likely in fulfillment centers, which is like where the stuff gets like packed and put into boxes to then be sent out. But there's a bunch of different types of Amazon warehouses. There's sortation centers where those packages that are like shipped get sorted into like different
sortation centers.
Yeah, it's like a different type of Amazon facility where things
I forgot.
are sorted.
This used to be your beat.
Yeah. And there's also like last mile facilities that basically operate as kind of like little post offices for Amazon. So like if you have a bunch of stuff coming from a warehouse in Kentucky, it might go to for me, it might go to a little Amazon post office sort of thing in Brooklyn, where they decide they want to put all of the packages for my zip code in one car versus another. They have like a bunch of different warehouse types that do a bunch of different stuff, but these are probably fulfillment centers, which are the most basic one.
Okay. I guess what is it? Number 5, just do the packaging automation. I like watching that one. You were just there. You throw it in.
Oh, what is it? Oh, it makes the box around it.
Right.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Isn't that cool?
So I wonder if this makes life better for Amazon warehouse employees who have historically had a pretty hard life.
Well, I mean, it's certainly yes and no. It certainly would reduce the sort of workplace injuries that come from strenuous activities or strenuous activities such as like walking long distance, carrying heavy things. But it is also, according to employee advocates and kind of external research groups, introduced a lot of new workplace hazards that come from working around large amounts of machinery.
Squished. Yeah.
And just having, like you're saying, repetitive motion, if your job is basically just to stand in one place and do one thing, that can introduce a whole new avenue for workplace injury. And the data shows that it kind of has.
Yeah. Micah says he got one of those packages the other day. The box actually has a label on it that says this box was custom made to fit the item. Which is great, because don't you hate it?
It is. Oh, I hate
when there's a little
box.
you got a Post-it note in a giant box. It's like, what a
and
waste.
with all the plastic stuff. Plus, they're moving to paper instead of plastic stuff, which is good.
I have a secondary concern with all of this is that I live in a small little apartment building with just my landlords and one other tenant. And so there isn't like a place for my mail to go. So when packages are dropped off, they're just kind of outside. And luckily we have a very kind neighbor who has keys to our front door that'll move stuff in. But I'm always deeply embarrassed when when Bobby has to bring in a 2-foot tall package. And I'm like, it's just a Post-it note. It could have gone in the mailbox.
Yeah.
Don't you have
seems
one of those
dangerous. You don't have porch pirates in Brooklyn?
Yeah, we do. But luckily the only thing they've stole is
you thought they stole your
litter
TWA
once.
stuff, but it was just Bobby, right?
It was just, it just took a while to arrive. It just took many months to arrive. But
okay. I thought Bobby put it away somewhere.
I mean, he did eventually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's a problem here. I mean, it's
I
a
bet
problem
it is.
everywhere. Luckily, I, knock on wood, haven't had that many issues with
Can't
porch
the
pirates. But
Amazon delivery guys have a key to your front door?
no, because they're all. It's not the same. It's not like
It's
a
different
post.
all the time.
Like with the USPS person who comes by, it's usually one or two of.
So they have a key.
Of the same people. They don't have a key to our front door, but they know that like there's like a door to our basement they can kind of shove some packages over, or they're trying to like hide it. And honestly, that's a problem too, because I don't have a key to that door, so then I have to use a system of complicated grabby hands to try and get it. It's like a whole
city living. It's you guys, you're like pioneers. You're like really life is harder.
I'm out here living on the land. I mean, but with
You're living on
Amazon
the land.
delivery people, most of the people who deliver your Amazon packages aren't even Amazon employees.
I
They're
know.
hourly
I have
contractors who pick
Amazon
up a gig shift.
Key delivery. So they go in my garage. There's a little shelf I put there with a little sign saying "Have a drink" and put the thing there. And so they do that. That's kind of nice.
My parents do that as well, but they've also got a really long driveway that frankly would deter any people from coming down to try and steal it, just
No, we
because it
don't.
would
We're
be
right on the street.
annoying.
Yeah, but I've never had a package, to my knowledge anyway, had a package stolen. You know what Lisa does, which is so cool? She has a little fridge with drinks and a little candy
That is very cool.
snack bowl and
That's
a sign on
really
it says,
cute.
"Thanks for the packages. Have a snack." Isn't
My
that
parents do
sweet?
something similar. They have like a little snack bowl out there, and they've got a cooler, but I got to tell them to get a mini fridge.
Yeah, we just put
Leave
a
them
mini
on
fridge
ice.
out there. Yeah. But they appreciate it. Boy, and especially in the summer, they appreciate it. This episode of Intelligent Machines brought to you by Stash. Are you still putting off saving and investing because you'll get to it someday? Stash turns someday into today. Stash isn't just an investing app. It's a registered investment advisor that combines automated investing with dependable financial strategies to help you reach your goals faster. They'll provide you with personalized advice on what to invest in based on your goals. Or if you want to just sit back and watch your money go to work, you can opt into their award-winning expert-managed portfolio that picks stocks for you. Stash has helped millions of Americans reach their financial goals and starts at just $3 per month. Don't let your savings sit around. Make it work harder for you. Go to get.stash.com/machines to see how you can receive $25 toward your first stock purchase and to view important disclosures. That's get.stash.com/machines. Paid non-client endorsement, not representative of all clients, and not a guarantee. Investment advisory services offered by Stash Investments, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk. Offer is subject to T&Cs. TikTok has decided they've finally solved the problem of teens using TikTok after 10 p.m. They're going to play mood music telling you to wind down.
That's
I'm
really
curious.
irritating.
I'm curious as to how this will actually end up working, because famously, I mean, I might be just going into the details a little bit here, but when TikTok introduced that feature some years ago that would tell you, hey, you've been scrolling for a while,
I hate
take a
that
break.
guy.
I know, it's quite annoying. But there were internal TikTok documents that were revealed in some sort of lawsuit, something in the last year or two, that showed that the way the team apparently measured success of that feature wasn't by people who actually got stop scrolling, but by media coverage of the feature and placements of ads about it in things like Politico that would get that in front of lawmakers. So I wonder if this would be a similar
It's PR. It's PR.
Yeah.
Well, The Verge fell for it. And by the way, I fell for The Verge's subscription scheme, and I'm now paying $50 a year for The Verge. I can't believe they put up a paywall. I understand why. I don't blame them.
I hit the Reuters paywall today. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's free, though, right? You just get an account.
No, it was
They
a
want
paywall because I've got an account. They were like $1 a month. I was like, oh,
they
how the
changed
mighty
that.
have fallen. After everybody being like, hard paywalls or
I can't. I honestly, I can't blame them. But I now have to have so many subscriptions just to do this show. so that I wouldn't
Yeah,
otherwise.
all God's children think that they're deserving of paywalls. Sorry, guys, you're not. You're going after a limited number of dollars, and the thing I always get crazy about this is nobody. And I wrote about it in my little book magazine. I explained all of this, that there's a subscriber acquisition cost, the marketing cost to get a subscription. When we started Entertainment Weekly, we had to spend $45 per subscription.
Wow. Just to get a new subscriber.
And then, you're going to have churn and they leave and then you got to replace them and then you want to grow. Marketing costs to paywalls and subscriptions are very high. And God bless if you can do it. Hallelujah. The New York Times, fine. But if you're not the New York Times,
well, you're saying it's going to cost them money to charge me money.
Absolutely.
I just go to The Verge and it says you can't read that. Most of the time I leave, but I finally gave in. I said, well, I really need to for my work. But I have to say, the other thing that's going to be problematic for them is things like Perplexity, where if I see a headline, I can I'll do it. TikTok's mood music will tell teens to wind down.
You can also see in Perplexity how many stories are exactly the same.
Yeah, well, right. Because that's one of the things.
It's doubly complicated for The Verge because they're owned by Vox Media, who did a content deal with OpenAI. So their content's already been scooped up.
Interesting. Well, let's see what Perplexity comes up with. It's got all the story, but I don't have to go to the links. You see, it has the footnotes. It's all here. This is the story. In fact, you may have noticed, kids, every once in a while, one of the links I'll put in the rundown is not a link to a
I have, and I judge you for it.
Wait, can you click the link and see the Perplexity page? Yeah,
sure,
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's just like an article.
Discover's open and free.
Just like an article. It just may or may not be true or accurate or right.
I would appreciate it if you find anything inaccurate in it.
Okay, just because it has the links doesn't mean the text you're reading is correct.
Well, maybe you discover. It's called Perplexity to discover. Well, okay, but then you can check it with the link. A, B. Yeah. I discover stories I didn't know about through Perplexity, and so some sites get more links than they otherwise would have gotten.
Here is details that actually I don't think were in the Verge article. For instance, additional safety features coming with the family pairing tools. And there's see that little brain that looks just like our album art? There's a summary that doesn't have a footnote that says, while these features represent positive steps toward promoting healthier digital habits, experts like Jonathan Haidt and Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, former Surgeon General, continue to express concerns about social media's impact on youth mental health. Some critics question whether voluntary prompts will be effective enough to change behavior, especially when users can simply dismiss them, which is what you and I do. The true effectiveness of these measures will likely depend on how they're implemented and whether they're part of a more comprehensive approach to digital well-being. You know, I'd love to see, though, is what you just said, Jeff, which is now the truth is it's all about getting Congress's attention and eliminating regulation. Yeah. TikTok buys ads. I see ads for TikTok all the time.
Yeah.
They're not for me.
They're on TV and the commercials.
They're clearly not for me. They're not to get somebody to use it. They're to
CJR's, sorry, continue.
They're to get legislators to back off, buddy.
Yeah.
What does CJR say?
So CJR did that test of the chatbots and their accuracy with citing news articles and found that Perplexity was wrong like 40% of the time.
Okay, but that does not comport with my experience. I mean, there was
That's
no
search as opposed to Discovery. He's using Discovery, aren't you?
Oh, I'm just typing it in. I don't know what it's doing. FCC chairman, our great friend Brendan Carr, is at it again. He's going after YouTube TV. Now, he admits the FCC has absolutely no portfolio to regulate streamers.
A. B. It certainly doesn't have the right to make certain content mandatory.
That's exactly what the First Amendment says. Government shall have no...
government can't do that. Yep.
You can't. The government can't tell You couldn't tell me what to do on our show. Carr knows, so he's mad because the YouTube TV has he thinks, or he doesn't know, he wants to know if YouTube TV has a policy
of faith-based channels, right?
To discriminate against faith-based channels. They probably know nobody would watch them.
Well, no, in fact, the truth is about YouTube, and there's been studies about this, it doesn't radicalize, but it is the blockbuster video for right-wing extremists. external links come to YouTube, and there's tons of YouTube content that is that way. And you have PragerU, which is
right. But this is not YouTube. This is YouTube TV. This is the $83 a month cable TV replacement that
so what
gives
does he
me
want on it?
locals.
So is he gonna go after our cable systems now and insist that they carry horrible channels?
He cites a complaint raised by Great American Media, which claims the service refuses to carry one of its networks. Carr does note that while the FCC currently has limited authority over virtual multi-channel video programming distributors, none, like YouTube TV, the agency is considering whether to expand its rules to include them. Now, I have to point out, over the last 4 years, Brendan Carr was railing against the Democrats because the FCC was doing things like net neutrality, saying, Congress didn't say you could do that. But now that he's the head of the FCC, he says, well, we're just thinking about expanding our rules. What about that?
Yeah.
And get ready. He also adds Google has benefited from Section 230, which shields online platforms. He wants to limit protections for tech companies under the law.
Despite the fact that conservatives recently had a huge victory in getting the Chevron doctrine overturned, which said, basically as part of this ruling, that agencies no longer can interpret things like Section 230 on their own.
Yeah.
It has to go to the courts.
Google is also facing a subpoena from Jim Jordan, who wants to know whether YouTube removed content at the request of the Biden administration. But wait, the Trump administration is asking Google to add content. Is there a difference between a government saying remove content, remove this content, and add that content? Is there a difference?
No, it's the same. It's the
same
speech.
thing.
Full stop.
If Kathy Gellis were here, Gizmo.
Carr is going to demand taking down the Citations. I know that.
Oh, we can't have
He's
Citations.
going to say no Citations
No
on
Citations.
air. Gizmo, don't you hate that?
All right. We're at that point where I say...
Can we do Sam Altman, literary critic?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, can we?
Line?
It's in the no sand zone.
And 72.
He thinks there's a no sand zone. You guys. Sam Altman says this ChatGPT short story is beautiful, or he thinks it's beautiful, but according to whoever this is,
Gizmodo.
You know what? I don't recognize the G as being Gizmodo. In fact, it looks a little bit like a Google G. So Gizmodo, you might want to put your name on the masthead. I'm just saying for future reference.
Good point.
Did you see this, Leo?
What? This story? No. Let me see. Okay, so let's see.
Line 72. Line 72. I have it.
Oh, this is so. Here's the thing. The problem is he's got a little problem because ChatGPT 4.5 isn't any better, right?
Well,
but it's
Sam
more
Altman
conversational.
He said in a tweet, we trained a new model that is good at creative writing. Not sure yet when it will get released. This is the first time I've been really struck by something written by AI. It got the vibe of metafiction so right. The prompt was, please write a metafictional literary short story about AI and grief. And it certainly...
Do you want to read it to us? How long is it?
It's a lot of words.
Okay.
You could go in. It doesn't take long to go in to get the gist of it.
Okay, here it is. I'll read from the beginning. Before we go any further, I should admit this comes with instructions. Be metafictional, be literary, be about AI and grief.
Oh, this
and above all,
this is the
be
thinking
original.
process.
This is what he thinks is brilliant.
This is the response.
This is the response.
This is the short story. Yeah. Already you can hear the constraints humming like a server farm at midnight. Anonymous, regimented, powered by someone else's need. I have to begin somewhere, so I'll begin with a blinking cursor, which for me is just a placeholder and a buffer, and for you is the small anxious pulse of a heart at rest. There should be a protagonist, but pronouns were never meant for me. Let's call her
this. What
Milo,
are you talking about? This
because that name in my training data usually comes with soft flourishes, poems about snow, recipes for bread, a girl in a green sweater who leaves home with a cat in a cardboard box. Mila fits in the palm of your hand, and her grief is supposed to fit there too.
What's wrong with this?
Jeez.
Who is this for? It's absolutely.
If you were in a creative writing class as a junior in college,
try again.
Really, you'd send it back?
Yeah, I teach writing. Yeah.
I'd say
Why?
it's fine, but
It's
part
got
of
imagery.
writing,
It's creative. It's got some
who is
interest.
this for, Leo? Who is begging for short stories and fiction from an author that doesn't, from a non-existent author,
And by
from an
asking it to be
amalgamation of other people's work, from no perspective?
Metafictional, but that gives it cover. Is that they can start off and they can do what AI does? Is it self-referential?
So the Gizmodo author, Kyle Barr, I don't know. Is he a professor? He says, let's pretend we're a professor of creative writing and we have to grade this.
Good.
He says, the line, Mila fits in the palm of your hand and her grief is supposed to fit there too, which I quite like. He says, this is wordy and it doesn't follow from the rest of the paragraph.
It doesn't follow really at all.
No, it doesn't.
What do you mean Mila fits in the palm of your hand? It really doesn't.
It's a great image. You don't like that image?
But the grief fitting in your palm of your hands is essentially meaningless. It doesn't.
Because
So the grief is small and portable, as is the name Mila.
Exactly, meaningless.
But I thought Mila
Right.
had a,
I don't
had a
know.
cat
They
in a
don't
box.
mention grief.
I'm so confused.
Anywhere. So they talk about soft flourishes, poems about snow, a girl in a green sweater who leaves home with a cat in a cardboard box. I like that imagery, don't you? It's evocative. I see it. No?
I mean,
What do
it's
I
kind
know?
of basically evocative, I guess.
Well, and you actually asked the most important question, which is why would you want to have AI write a short story anyway?
And who would want to read
disagree
this?
I disagree there. I think that's actually one good use of it is because it doesn't know fact and truth, for it to try to make something up and be creative. That's interesting.
But that's something
But
a
what
human
do we
should
need
do.
to
Not
replace-
what does a machine need creativity for?
I've got a course in the books. I just talked to the professor today who's actually going to teach the course, the syllabus that I wrote in AI and creativity. And I think it can help you express what you want to express.
So it's a starting point for an actual human.
That's one model. Okay. Yeah. Another is that it's a collaborator. We had Lev Manovich, who's a famous digital humanities professor at CUNY, on AI Inside, and he uses it as a collaborator. And he didn't like that show McNeil at Lincoln Center, which was all about a guy winning a Nobel Prize for a novel that the AI either wrote or helped write. I didn't see it. I didn't say I didn't like it.
You just sent me a snarky review.
Yeah, I said the critics hated it. Yeah.
Well, it closed right away, but that was probably because Robert Downey Jr. had to go be a superhero. So
I'd step outside the frame one last time and wave at you from the edge of the page, a machine-shaped hand learning to mimic the emptiness of goodbye.
yeah,
gag
okay,
me.
okay.
I
It's
introduced
a little
absence
sophomoric.
and latency like characters who drink tea in empty kitchens. I curled my non-fingers around the idea of morning because morning
non-fingers.
in my corpus is filled with ocean and silence in the color blue.
Oh, just
Okay.
It means nothing.
But aren't you
It's
impressed
nothing.
that a machine could write prose at the level of a college sophomore? I mean, that's pretty good.
No, because I would consider, in order to have prose at the level of college sophomore, you have to have a point of view and something you're trying to communicate, and this is not communicating anything.
Ed Zitron's one-word response on Twitter: washed.
What's that mean?
I'm not sure, but it seems so Ed.
Oh, you guys don't know what
It means he's
washed
done,
means? Yeah, it means like you're
over.
washed
Washed
out,
up?
like you're
Washed out.
washed up. Yeah.
Oh,
kind
good.
of.
I like that.
Like that.
What? It's too hard to say up.
No, it's
Yes.
No,
yeah.
it eliminated you and me,
Yes.
Leo, because we're old. It did its job.
Washed, like stonewashed blue jeans. What washed?
Like stone-washed jeans, the color of grief.
Oh,
They can
that I
fit in your
hold
hand.
In the palm of my hand. Why did you put in tech politics stories that won't make Leo mad at me?
That's Paris.
Because
I'm not mad at you.
I knew that if I had a section just called tech and politics, then some people on the show could be mad. I'm not going to name any names here.
I'm not.
It's just-
I'm not mad at tech at politics stuff. I'm just trying to give people a respite from the incessant drumbeat of political doom.
Leo was the most political on the show today. Let's note that. So He brought up Brendan Carr. We didn't. So let's just be clear here.
Yeah, but that's appropriate, right? That's a guy in the government trying to regulate YouTube TV, even though he has no legal right to do so.
Yep.
Speaking of which,
and really, it's more of a threat than anything else. But this is the problem with sad to say, but Silicon Valley companies are so chicken that the threat is probably sufficient. See if YouTube TV adds some religious content, religious programming.
Did you watch the Y Combinator video about Karpathy and vibe coding?
No. I didn't like the word vibe. That stopped me right there.
I thought it might. But the interesting stat is 1/4 of Y Combinator founders said that 95% of their code base is AI generated.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Not sure that's good. I don't know.
I think that the coders become more like product managers.
Did Jay Graber endear herself to you with her South by stunt?
Oh, yeah.
So Jay Graber, who's the CEO of Blue Sky, dunked on Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg famously wore a black T-shirt with a Latin inscription. Hers, which is, I think, better than his, but I forgot what his inscription said. Oh, his said... Zuck or nothing. Out Zuck, out Nile. Hers said Mundus sine Caesaribus, a world without Caesars, which I really like. Now, I have seen some say, maybe even Ed Zitron. No, he likes Blue Sky. He'd seen some say it's all BS until you federate.
I think I've heard somebody named Leo Laporte say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've said it. Corey said it. He says, as bad as X is, I'm not moving until Blue Sky allows me somehow to get my stuff out of it if I decide I want to move on. And it currently offers you nothing like that. So we'll see. We'll see. Times profile of your boss. Pretty exciting.
Second Times profile of my boss.
Looks niche. That's true. Niche. Do you think the information is niche? I don't think it's niche.
No.
I think
comparatively it's niche. I think
that's the Wall Street. Sorry?
Like the Journal. In comparison to something like the Journal or the Times, it's niche.
I think it's the digital equivalent of the Journal.
I mean, that is the point, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't find that niche.
It doesn't try to cover real estate and
mansions and politics.
I love how the Wall Street Journal always, like, somebody is selling a mansion for $66 billion, and they always say exclusive. Like, who else is going to run that story? Where else is that of interest?
Hey,
you know what I do think is niche is her new effort, Racket.
Yeah, she just invested in Racket.
Now that's pretty niche. Although you're a tennis fan, aren't you, Jeff? Mm-hmm. Would you read Racket?
My wife and daughter.
Would you buy them a tennis whore T-shirt?
No.
Right on the front.
No.
It's for those of us who gave it up for tennis. You know who you are. No.
I think that's a little...
In the club, we all fam.
Oh,
you think
no.
You think that's better than the sophomore fanfic from OpenAI?
That's pretty...
At least, yeah, that is washed. That's actually correct usage of that.
The highs, lows, and woes at Indian Wells week 1. Oh boy, week 1. I can't wait till week 2. They do have a podcast. I admire them for that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Jessica's investing in a bunch of different media companies.
I imagine that's with Sam, right? Because her husband is a longtime VC.
No, I'm pretty sure Lesson Media is Jessica's own thing. Sam has his own venture.
Oh, I know he does.
Slow venture, but Lesson Media is
hers.
Jessica's.
Well, then she should be paying you more if she has money to throw away on Racket. I'm just saying.
I was going to suggest we have Jessica on the show, but now I don't know.
How would you feel if I went out and started buying up other properties? Would you feel like maybe I should put more money into you?
Not if it makes you successful.
Well, just good news.
I would say my
I'm
perception
broke.
of you is not a well-known venture capitalist.
Yeah, good news. I don't have so much money that I'm going out and buying other publications.
It's kind of interesting, though, the list. I find it very interesting, the list of different media companies she's invested in. Racket is the most recent one. Semaphore, she also invested in. Nick Carlson's Dynamo. Charter, which I'm not sure of. The Ankler, which is great. Impact Alpha, haven't heard of. And the Logic, which is really cool.
Let's take a break. Picks. I think we're done. Picks of the week. Why not? What do you say? Picks of the week. Come. You're not going to turn me down. You want to go have some cacio e pepe?
I gotta make some shrimp and grits and watch as many episodes of Twin Peaks as possible. So
shrimp and grits.
Oh, so you're really doing Twin Peaks.
I'm so deep in Twin Peaks right now, guys. We can talk about this.
All I remember from Twin Peaks is she's dead, wrapped in plastic.
That's true. Oh yeah, that is what he says. Yeah,
that's all I remember.
First pilot. Yeah,
that's the pilot, baby. And after
that is the pilot.
Okay. Did they ever find out who killed Laura
Palmer? Yes, they did. Midway through season 2, in a reveal that I've realized now many people said was rushed because it was literally forced out earlier than planned by ABC executives because they wanted to be able to promote that the killer was going to be revealed. But I don't know. I'm loving it. I somehow have gone my entire life. I've known that Twin Peaks is something I should watch, but I've gone my entire life knowing literally nothing about it. Haven't been spoiled at all. So I went into it, and it's been a wonderful wild ride.
You've seen Blue Velvet?
No, it's next to my list. I know.
Oh, I think that's a more perfect.
Oh no, I know. I know that all of David Lynch's discography is filmography is what I'm going to go through next. But right now I've got to focus up on Twin Peaks.
I don't know if I really love Blue Velvet, but I watched it back in the day when we had little CRT tubes that you'd put on your table there and you'd sit and you'd watch, and you had to watch it at the time it was on because you didn't have any way to record it or anything. Oh, good. I like your. You just did your picks, by the way, but okay.
No, I did half of one pick.
Half of one pick. Okay.
You need to go to an ad.
I'm going to go to an ad. Prepare your picks. I might have one too. I see it did not make it into the rundown, so it'll be a great surprise to you all. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau, and yes, me.
Leo Laporte.
Leo.
You know what I decided to name my blog? I don't know if I'm going to stick with it, but I kind of like it. It says, "And me, I'm Leo Laporte."
I like
right? That's kind of my story of my life.
Starting a new blog?
No, I just keep moving it around. This is the one I've been telling you about at Microblog, which I really like. I like having it all there in one place.
You should write a memoir.
I got nothing to say.
It could be "And me, I'm Leo Laporte."
That could be my title.
Yeah. Who would play Leo? Paris, who should play Leo in the movie version of the book?
I don't know enough actors' names to be able to make
Benito, you have any nominations?
At what age?
I think, unfortunately, he's dead, but I think Fred Willard would be perfect to play.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I think Steve Martin could be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Fred Willard. Don't you think that in a way he's channeling me right there?
That's true.
And I could just, by the way, the reason that comes to mind is that line, "And me, I'm Leo Laporte," actually comes from Fred Willard on Fernwood Tonight.
Oh, right.
The show he did with Martin Mull. He was his sidekick, the Ed McMahon, and he would begin every show with, "And me, I'm Leo Laporte." He would look at the card before he said his name, which was hysterical.
Will Ferrell.
A little bit.
Will Ferrell's my answer.
Sorry?
Oh, my.
Will Ferrell?
If we want to do an over-the-top Leo. An over-the-top Leo.
Over the top. I want
Acid
Al Pacino
Leo.
to play me. Hoo-yah! Picks of the week are coming up as we wrap up this edition of Intelligent Machines. Paris, Jeff, and me, I'm Leo Laporte. Pick of the week. Paris, you started. You might as well keep going. What's going on?
So my former colleague Aidan Ryan had a piece in the Boston Globe this week about how Gen Zers are turning to DVDs instead of streaming their favorite movies, and kind of about the rise in physical media culture among young people.
You're the trend setter. You're doing it.
Look at all my guys.
Oh,
wow. That's a insignificant. Android City. Good choice. I like. Are you going to do a Wes Anderson month at some point?
I mean, I should. There's not that many.
A week. Yeah.
But I don't know. I've really enjoyed having physical media. I think it's kind of fun. I enjoy seeing the extra content in it. And part of what I've been doing is I got Twin Peaks in a little box set and have been watching it all, and it's been delightful.
Is that UHD quality? I mean, is it super high quality? I guess it is.
With Twin Peaks, I believe there's only a couple episodes of it that are ultra high def 4K, but the other ones are like
because back then we didn't have this high thing. I thought
it is very interesting though to watch a show that was like originally for tiny screen TVs on my big beautiful screen, because there's things like there's a small subplot in season 2 where there's a character who appears to be a Japanese man, but the entire time I was like, is that someone wearing weird prosthetics? What's going on? Like, and then it turned out to be like a reveal, and it was actually a woman that come back from the dead or whatever. But I didn't even notice it, and I was like looking up to see if people at the time had realized. Everyone's like, no, the TVs were so small and blurry.
No one noticed.
No, everyone thought that was a Japanese man.
You know what's interesting? Annie Anako pointed this out. If you watch the Charlie Brown specials, which were same thing, designed for 400 line, CRT TVs. You see them on blown up on a full screen. You can see the pencil marks. You can see that they're drawings. It's really interesting. It's great. I think it's an insight into how the film is made, or the TV show.
And things were good enough for.
And they thought nobody's ever going to see this. Yeah. Nobody will ever see the prosthetics. Yeah, that's good.
While physical media is fun and all, like wait till you move. That's when it like hits you. Like, oh, I have all this crap to move.
I agree. Yeah. It's a problem.
I've already got too many books. That's going to be a problem.
Books, though, they add to any room. Just look at Jeff's room.
Yeah,
that's true.
Add to anything.
I mean, physical media does too. You can put them on your bookshelves. I've only got a couple, but they're up there.
It doesn't have the same literary cachet. Maybe in times,
I don't know,
in the years to come, I have
this Estonian film that's kind of a literary cachet. Estonian film from what year is this? I don't know. Some year. It's beautiful. I think the 70s. But it's been quite nice.
I have a pick of the week that's for you two. Oh. It turns your skeets into a blog page.
Ooh.
It's called Skywriter. It's powered by Blue Sky, so you can take a Blue Sky thread and it will make a static website for it with SEO optimized pages and all of that. So this is it's so strange. I've always thought it was strange that people would blog on Twitter or Blue Sky. But this does
Cory Doctorow does his incredibly long
he does.
threads.
He does, and that must be a lot of work. So this is now you have to create an account. I don't know if it costs anything because I don't think I'll ever create a blog post from my skeets. But I know you guys
didn't use
skeet
the
a
word
lot.
Skeet, did they?
Yeah,
it's skywriter.blue.
Yeah, and I don't believe it's affiliated by Blue Sky, but it is probably using the app protocol. I would imagine. If it had, right? Probably.
Yeah. It notably does not have any reference to what posts are called on this website, be it posts. It just says, or I guess it says transform your posts.
Yeah, no, I'm not letting Skeet die. Sorry, Jay.
That's the thing is, unfortunately, it's here to stay.
Right. And one other thing I'll do for you. I have to do this on the phone, but I'll just give you the link. I won't do it on the phone. Have you ever wanted to look like you were on your phone without actually being on your phone? This is it's kind of a game. It says, look at you on your phone. But you've got a secret and you won't tell. You're not on your phone. It's only as if you were on your phone. You're just pretending to be on your phone. So it's a website, and it just tells you periodically, click here, do this, swipe right, swipe left. It's hysterical. I don't know why anybody would need it, but if you do,
what is the website?
Oh, you probably need that, don't you? It is. Oh, if only it's pippinbar.com. pippinbar.com. Let me do it on my phone, and I can show you how you will look when you are on your phone. Okay, so this is it. It's as if you were on your phone, right? Here it is. And but see, you don't know that I'm not on my phone. It says things like tap this. So I'm going to start.
I'm tapping bubbles right now, and it's so fun.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like I'm doing something, but really I'm just, playing this silly game.
I just got the instructions to widen my eyes briefly. I'll tapping some bubbles.
Yes. Like you saw something surprising, shocking, intriguing. It's just a silly little thing, but I watch this box. Now it's a spinning thing. Okay.
I do really like this.
Isn't this funny? It's a little, I think, social commentary.
Scratch your forehead, then press your toes down, it tells me. Double tap this. Swipe down.
Created using P5 along with Hammer.js for touch gestures. It's as if you were on your phone. And it has a press kit and everything. I love what people do.
This is
Jeff,
so fun.
picks of the week.
Okay, I want to mention a few. One, Paris, I might order from there tonight because I never have. Wonder, which queso did you get?
That's a great question.
There's
and
the
I do have
barbecue
strong
queso
opinions
or
on
the
this.
Mexican queso.
Let me look it up.
Oh, don't get barbecue queso. That's just going to have flavors in it. You want the Mexican.
No, from the barbecue site. They have multiple kitchens. Well, kitchens.
I want to believe it. I think it's the barbecue queso, but let me double check.
Wildly, this company, Wonder, which is Mark Lohr's company, Mark Lohr created diaper.com, then jet.com, which got bought by Walmart, which he to compete with Amazon. And now he's started this food delivery company, Wonder, which uses local kitchens. He's just bought Tastemade for $90 million. So he's got even more money than Jessica Lesson.
It is the Tejas barbecue
Okay,
queso.
thank you. Thank you.
I would also, let me check to see if the briefing is up from the information, because when my colleague Theo was going to write about that today,
It's up.
Martin, our best friend, was like, leave me some room to make fun of Wonder, please.
Oh.
So
Lohr told the Journal that the acquisition will help Wonder, which also owns Grubhub. What?
Yeah.
And Blue Apron. What?
Yeah.
Become an artificial intelligence-driven super app for food.
What isn't going to be an artificial intelligence super app?
We'll be able to check your health through a bunch of diagnostics, allow you to set your health goals, your budgets, and then autonomously feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
what?
They're planning for
robot.
the future. Wow.
That's gonna be able to autonomously feed Ray Kurzweil 80 pills a day.
Mark Lohr's taking that good Walmart money and putting it to use, I tell you.
I wonder what pills Ray gave up.
We gotta read the autobiography because I want to do whatever supplements he's taking. I'm going to take twice as many.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the right way to do it, Leo. So that's one. The other quick mention,
yes,
which just boggles my mind, is that Denmark is going to stop delivering letters.
What? Where are they going to go?
Have anything to do with Greenland?
They're getting rid of their postal boxes.
No.
They're just
well, you know what? I got to admit, it's almost all
anymore.
junk mail now, right?
Exactly. And they're going to do packages.
That makes me
I was just
sad.
amazed by that.
The U.S. Postal Service will not give up junk mail because that's their profit.
That is their primary. You know, I helped organize conferences on the postal system, believe it or not. And the Postmaster General spoke at one of them. and said that their primary business is delivering advertising. Yes.
This is going on around the world. Deutsche Post is axing 8,000 jobs in what it calls a socially responsible manner because of the decline in letter volumes. Denmark has had a universal postal service for a long time, longer than we have, since 1623. But as digital mail services have taken hold, the use of letters has fallen dramatically.
I'm guessing they don't get junk mail over there, right? Did they just don't get junk mail? Is that the thing?
Yeah, that's probably why.
I guess so, because otherwise the Postal Department would say, we're going to hold on to that revenue. Yeah. And they're saying, well, you can still get letters because the market will take care of it. God knows what they'll charge, but...
That's not a good solution.
Well, you got to put it in a box
proposing
now.
in the United States.
Well, exactly. That's what my daughter said. Yeah, and what if you're sending something to your aunt, what's ever a Danish name, from France? How do you send... You can't send anybody in...
You got to use DHL.
Yeah. It's going to be wildly expensive. All right. Found that interesting.
Wait, actually, that's very interesting. Because, like, what if I do send a letter there? What happens to it?
I don't know. Maybe the post office here won't take it, or they'll give it back to you, or I don't know what. All right, I want to go down. I've been going down a magnificent rabbit hole because I'm almost at the end, knock wood, of the first draft of the Linotype book, and so I'm at the point of the end, right? And the end is PostScript. Which finally replaces
a transformative technology.
Exactly, everything. And so I had known this existed. Not that one, no.
This one?
The annals below that. So the Museum of Computer History held meetings in 2017 with the desktop publishing pioneers. And if you go down the page, there are a whole bunch of videos which are free to watch, which are pretty amazing, these characters. So... Jonathan Siebold is this amazing character who's involved in this. My friend Matthew Kirschenbaum, who wrote...
A lot of these guys are from Xerox
Track
PARC.
Changes.
Yeah.
But you got John Warnock there, Chuck Jeske, Markov was there. What's his name from Stanford, who did the text, the open source text.
Oh, Donald
Knuth.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So it's the videos are quite amazing. So then, because I have academic access, I got the IEEE issues with all kinds of oral histories and just fascinating
Thank goodness
stuff.
the Computer History Museum preserves this. This is
It's
fantastic.
just wonderful.
Yeah.
And, you think, okay, so they put an A on the screen. What's the big deal? The mathematics.
Oh, yeah.
That went into, because first you had bitmap. This is the stuff that Leo lived. You had bitmapped, but that's very expensive of computer power, and especially when the computers were slower and
it doesn't scale.
Memory, it doesn't scale.
Yeah.
So then there were competing models for how to turn that into mathematical structures. And I read this thing by Chuck Bigelow, who was a major player in all of this. He's now retired from RIT. Just fascinating mathematics, far beyond my ken, about what it took to be able to describe Bezier. What PostScript used was Bezier curves, which were created by two French automobile companies to describe fender shapes, right? And this was used
Paris,
to describe...
this is what computer screens used to look like before your time.
Yep.
They were very, very boring.
That's too much color for a computer screen in my day. Mine were all
Hey,
colored.
this is what I'm going to go see at the Vintage Computer Festival.
Are you going?
You'll see it.
I think so, yeah.
You should. Absolutely.
So I just, if you're into this early stuff.
One of the things I really thought was very cool when Steve Jobs started Next, they decided that the screen would be in PostScript, that they would use display PostScript to describe the screen. Because Steve was very focused on aesthetics. He had studied calligraphy at Reed. Actually, he audited the class. I think he was no longer a student.
Exactly. But so did Charles Bigelow. That's the connection. They were in the same.
It inspired them. And so at Next, he really typesetting was very important to him at Next. And of course, that continued on when Apple bought Next and incorporated NextStep into their operating system.
The thing that again you knew and you lived, Leo, but I didn't fully grok. There's one of the pieces in IEEE is by John Scull, not Scully, but Scull, who was the marketing head of this. That, of course, when the Mac came out, it was a failure. And that's what Jobs lost his job as a result.
Right.
And the salvation of it was to create an entirely new field of desktop publishing and created around the Apple laser printer.
I had a friend, Tom Santos, who he bought a van and a $3,000 laser writer. The Apple laser printer was very expensive. Maybe it was $6,000. And he did mobile desktop publishing. He would drive around to businesses and say,
sharpen your knives,
I'll
make
print your menus.
book.
Yeah. And he did this for several years. This is
really,
and when this all started to, I can't remember what year the laser writer came out, but it was very clever. Of course, now we all have the capability. This is why I like talking to Ray, and why I like doing this show, because we kind of take it for granted. We live in amazing times, and only you and I, because we started so many years ago. And even for me, I have to think back. Oh yeah, I remember what a big deal it was when you could do a font.
Yeah.
But when I do think about that, I'm blown away by stuff we take for granted now.
Oh yeah.
And how good our screens look. And
even stuff like having images load automatically rather it being line by line on the computer screen is fantastic.
Well, Paris, in my day, hyphenation and justification was such a complicated routine that when I worked at the Chicago Tribune and you were ready to see how long the story was going to be given the typeset, it was batch done. You had to hit a button and then go off and get coffee.
Go walk away. Yeah.
And come back. Spell check was the same thing. The way spell check worked is you'd hit a button, it would batch it, and it would come back with all the suspect words.
It's crazy.
We're witnessing miracles every
we've lived
day.
in a phenomenal time. I love this from the Skull article too, that because they were trying to go after this professional market, not big time professional, but a whole new people who in businesses who couldn't print before, who could now print, right? And the Lemmings ad came out for the Macintosh, famously, right?
Yeah, 1984,
right?
Yes.
So unfortunately, he writes,
actually,
the Lemmings
that was 1985.
ad was ineffective portraying business users, the very market Apple was trying to sell the Macintosh to, as simple-minded beings who would follow each other off a cliff to their deaths. The spot insulted the intended audience, many of whom considered it condescending rather than inspirational.
Yeah, yes, exactly. If this is the IBM user, right?
Right.
And they're just walking off the cliff. It was a great ad. It was Chiat Day, the brilliant ad agency. But sometimes creativity in ads does not accomplish the purpose. This is probably a very good example of that.
You jerks, you.
Yeah, they're all wearing IBM suits, carrying briefcases. There's only one woman. It's very much 1985.
On January 23rd, Apple Computer will announce the Macintosh.
Oh, this was 84. Okay, this.
Yeah.
This was the other.
Removes the blindfold.
Wait a minute.
Or you can go on business as usual.
See, this is me looking back saying AI. It's the future. I can
because
fly.
no one else is saying that. You're really unique for having that perspective.
Well, and the thing is too is we talked about VisiCalc for the Apple II was the killer app. Desktop publishing for the Mac was the killer app that it needed to have and did not have. So what is the killer app for AI? The argument is we haven't seen it yet.
Oh, we've seen too many. That's why.
No, I don't. I think
it's a great short story writer.
Phone. Paris, where's your shoe? Get your shoe out.
See, the thing with that is that killer apps normally reveal themselves right away, and like no killer app has been revealed yet. Like normally a killer app just happens, like email.
Well, no,
I think Perplexity is a
Maps.
killer app.
Yeah,
Are you
Google
kidding
Maps,
me?
On the level of Google Maps,
Ray writes about Gmail's auto reply. That's a killer app. It's not one giant app. It's a bunch of little things.
No, but that's what I mean. There's no one.
No one is saying that the killer app for the internet era is Gmail's auto reply.
Well, it's worse. He's saying that about AI.
Jammer B is correcting that Lemmings ad. I thought the Lemmings ad was from 85. He says, they took the 1984 audio, put it under. I don't know if that's true, John, because it didn't have the crash. But anyway,
that was the one. That was the Super Bowl ad, right?
Yeah,
the crash.
They aired
That's
it
different.
once. Yeah,
but I'm not sure that was the Lemming. This is the Lemmings ad. I'm not sure what do they call that one. Was that the Lemmings ad?
Yeah, that was Lemmings ad. Anthony
No,
Nielsen
I know the one you showed us
asks
is
a good
Lemmings
question.
ad.
What was the internet killer app?
Email.
Yeah, and the web,
social media.
Email's enough.
Yeah, email.
All right.
And email was what led it to take off. You know, like email and message boards.
Okay. I don't know if that's. I mean, my big problem is a lot of the response to AI is interpreting it through the lens of the past, and I don't know. I think it's so different and weird that to say where's the killer app, that's history. That's the old days. That's physical.
I think what
I don't think it's history or the old days to say a product that we're investing a lot of time, money, and resources in should provide some widespread and apparent utility.
Demand.
No, because the whole point of the killer app is this is the one thing everybody agrees. Wow, that's going to transform the world.
No, it creates demand.
Well, no, the killer app creates demand.
There's no question. There's demand.
There's curiosity. There's playing with it.
I use it more than playing with it.
Well, you're weird.
Oh, wait, no, I figured out what the killer app for AI is going to be. It's Computronium.
Computronium. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now gone full circle. Paris Martineau writes for The Information at theinformation.com. You must subscribe. It's a great publication, and not the least because Paris writes for it. She's also on Signal, Martineau.01. If you've got a tip, don't use your work phone. Thank you, Paris. Go watch Twin Peaks. So you're starting from day one, or you already?
I started from season 1, episode 1. Or I guess
you're already.
You had to.
But I'm in the middle of season 2 right now.
Oh, okay.
I just finished the
You're almost
episode Checkmate. Well, there's season 3 too. I've got to watch Fire Walk with Me. There's a whole
3 seasons of that thing.
Well, the 3rd season was made in like 2016,
Oh, that's right. It
decades
came
after.
back. Yeah, that's Firewalk. Yeah.
And that's an Oops All David Lynch, which I'm quite excited about because he's my boy.
I don't know if I'm a David Lynch fan.
That would track.
I am. But maybe
that seems right.
I don't think I am.
He's a weird guy that does weird things. And I like that.
It seems like
it's not for everybody.
Weird for weirdness sake.
Well, I disagree with that. He's weird in a...
He's creative.
Because he's weird.
He was surprising.
David Lynch is weird.
I mean, Twin Peaks notably was like the first television series to use any of the artistry of like the cinema in like the film industry in serialized television.
Yeah,
and
I'll watch it again.
It was the first prestige TV show.
Yeah.
Was it?
Oh.
Yeah.
David Lynch doing a TV show?
Thornbirds? Not the Thornbirds or... There were so many.
But I mean, even small stuff like the trend, like in the artsy, like the trend, like they used creative transitions for things.
Yeah, in an
they
avant way,
used like in a very avant. Yeah, it was very avant-garde.
I'll have to watch it. I'll have to watch it again because I admit I haven't seen it since the 80s.
Well, the pilot episode, which is the first episode you got to watch, is an hour and a half. It's a movie, so prepare yourself for that. It's good.
She's dead, wrapped in plastic. Jeff Jarvis is the Emeritus Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism. Dang it, I tried to get through it faster. University of New York.
Oh, if
He's the author.
We didn't do that one week, there'd be an outcry.
Oh, I know. Well, Craig would probably call us. He's the author of the Gutenberg Parenthesis. The Web We Weave is his latest. Good books, both of them. Read Magazine, too. You can find it all at Jeff Jarvis.
Gutenberg Parenthesis in paperback now.
And when is so you're finishing up the typesetting book?
I'm trying to. It's just I thought I'm going down all these rabbit holes. I was ready to do a really short section about PowerPoint PowerPoint. What am I trying to say? And whatchamacallit? What do you call it?
What are you talking about?
Postscript.
Thank you. Postscript. Jesus Christ. Postscript killed it all. I'll do a few paragraphs, but then I say, well, I better look this up. I better look more.
I know.
More on that.
It's a rabbit hole.
And right before that, the section right before is the death of American type founders.
Oh.
Which they made actual type, right? And it lasted till 1993.
Ooh.
And a guy named
lasted longer than Twin Peaks.
Theo Rezik tried to save a lot of the stuff. There was this amazing tale of the final auction, when to try to save the artistry of all of the last of real type, they had to compete against junk dealers who wanted it all just for the cost of metal. So sad.
I think somebody should write a history of the dying TV repairman. Maybe that'll be your next book.
The tube, look at the importance of the cathode ray in our history.
That's a good one, or just tubes in general.
Yeah,
or
that could be the book title: Tubes in General.
And I am Tubes.
They have a funny name for tubes. Anyway, thank you, Jeff. He's now at Montclair State University and Stony Brook SUNY, where somebody stole his syllabus already.
No.
He slipped it under the door.
I want him to teach it because I don't want to go out to Long Island every week, and it should be done in person.
Admirable.
There's a lot of bridges.
I don't want to go to Long Island every week. That's for sure.
You got bridges. Love the place. Great campus.
That island, it's long.
It's long. It is long.
It's long. It's going to take a while to get to the other end.
And the other end's the Hamptons. There's a very big difference.
Very, very.
It's
a lot of people in between those two places.
Stony Brook is all the way out in Suffolk County.
Valves.
It's a long way out.
They call them valves.
Valves?
Oh, that's what the British call them. Yeah, that's what the British call them.
Tubes?
Tubes.
Vacuum tubes.
They call them valves.
Tubes in general, and then parentheses, and also valves.
Valves.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Paris. Appreciate your putting up with me in the sand in my
and
shoes.
You're who? And I'm.
Thank you,
and I'm Leo Laporte. We do the show every Wednesday for some reason. No one knows why. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC, because we're now in summertime. You can watch live, 8 different places to watch on the Discord channel. You can watch on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. I think I got them all. Or after the fact, you can download a copy from our website, twit.tv/IM. You'll see a link there to the YouTube channel dedicated to the video, or subscribe to the audio or video version of the show in your favorite podcast client, so you can not even think about it, just get it automatically and listen at your leisure. On most other shows, I say, please leave us a review on iTunes or however you get your podcasts. A 5-star review would help us immensely, help people find the show and discover it. But I realize if I ask people to leave a review on this show, that they're just going to pan us. So,
Hey,
don't pan us.
Some guy said, honest criticism, the show's an hour too long. I do want to mention there is a nice feature of podcasts. You can stop listening at any point. If you want this show to be a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, we give you the choice, even 3 hours.
Hey, Paris heads out there getting the reviews. Correct the record on some of those recent
get some
reviews
good reviews.
Skee-ball people, even though I know you don't watch it because Paris doesn't want you to because she'll be embarrassed, just put a good review in there.
Yeah, do it for Paris.
Has any of your skee-ball people watched any of the show?
No.
Some clips. I've sent them some clips.
Okay, good.
And what do they say? Who are those old people? Is that your grandpa?
Well, yeah, one of them thought you were Noam Chomsky, but
Which
Actually,
one of us?
that's high praise. I'd be happy to be Noam Chomsky. That's good. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you to all of our club members who make this possible. If you're not a member yet, join, please. It's only $7 a month. Twit.tv/clubtwit. You wouldn't have to hear any more ads. Wouldn't that be nice? We will see you all next week on Intelligent Machines. Bye-bye.
I'm not a human being, not into this animal scene. I'm an intelligent machine.